but I think it's going to be a 3-horse race, possibly even a 2-horse race now for this race. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, Michael's set the fastest lap. He's supposed to get, well, he was supposed to get 1.5 tenths for that, so it will be very, very nice to get tyres.
Absolutely right. Certainly not a lot in this one. Michael O'Brien will be helped in his charge towards group in the fact that Barsh has now dropped away from him a little bit. There's certainly a notable gap there between second and third. So now that O'Brien no longer has to really worry as such about Barsh trying to have a pop at him, he's fully able to start getting aggressive with Matthias Group. We're more likely to see a change for the lead now than ever before, because Michael O'Brien doesn't have to worry about the Polish driver behind him. He knows that Barsh cannot make a move on him from back there. He's going to have to catch him first, and so O'Brien, really the coast is clear to make some kind of move on the leader. Does need to close in a little bit. He's got about a cart length between them. It's not close enough for some kind of desperate lunge for a pass, but well, if anyone can do it on Grooten, it's Michael O'Brien is going to be one of those who can. We'll see if he can close in a little bit more, but I think he's got to get closer than he is now. What do you think, Christian?
Oh yeah, I think I can see they're preparing to check the flag, so yeah,
in fact, sorry to cut in, O'Brien having a look down the inside on the backstretch. We saw on the camera there, O'Brien seemed to close in a little bit more. He's still some way back, but he certainly was having an inside look there. Here comes the checker though, and Matthias Grooten wins from Michael O'Brien, Matt Barsh, and here comes James Martin in fourth. And so what a win there by Matthias Grooten. Certainly soaks up a huge ton of pressure. All race long there was pressure there, and Matthias Grooten becomes the first 4-time winner of the weekend. He's absolutely undefeated. 4 wins to him, and that really will set him up nicely for a shot at the British Rental Car Championship title. If you're just joining us online, my name's James Ald. I'm the commentator for the weekend. I'm up here at the moment with Crispin Zerka, who's running in the race. Crispin, a huge amount of pressure Grooten had to absorb. He seems to have handled that pretty well, though.
Yeah, there's a reason he is multiple world champion. I just can't wait to see him go up against Ed White. That's going to be exceptionally interesting.
Well, when that final comes around, clearly we're going to have some of the greatest drivers battling it out for that one, and who knows who it's going to go to. You did mention Ed White just then. Ed White, we've seen win 3 out of 3 races. He's not in action till much later in the afternoon. In fact, the final heat of this, so we've got to wait some time to see him. Next up in the in the next heat, we've got Michael Moore, Anwar Barul Smith, the most titled driver in the place. Thomas Clark, Bjorn Vermeulen, great results earlier from Bjorn Vermeulen. Oliver Baiani, we've seen him win already. Frank Crossley, Mike Holcroft, another top competitor. Russell Endine, Kim Ensign, big names all the way in this championship and in the next heat too. And Michael Weddle rounding out that next heat. So we've got those to look forward to. But another win in the bag for Matthias Grooten, the first 4-time winner. Matthias Grooten undefeated this weekend, sets himself up nicely. That's his last heat. He'll be in the semi-final next, and certainly a 100% point score there. Crispin, out of this next heat race, who's your money on?
Probably Bjorn or Russell. Bjorn or Russell.
Yeah, Bjorn Vermeulen, but Anwar Barul Smith is certainly going to be one to watch out for there, isn't he? So we'll see what happens. Anwar Barul Smith, we've seen him win before in the British Rental Car Championship. He's not yet won this weekend, so obviously he'll be looking to make Heat 4 his victory. He has actually won, sorry, yes, he did win one of the heats earlier on. He'll be looking to win another, though. Lewis Manley, what did you think of that when Matthias Grooten soaking up all that pressure?
Yeah, really defending quite heavily, because like with Michael, he was defending the same, because top 3 were very close. That's why they were moving towards the left. But all credit to the winner, because he's had 4 out of 4, as you said, undefeated. He's looking very good for the final and semi-final spot for sure already. And he's probably to try and do the same for him to get 5 out of 5, and then he'll be right up there, and probably for him to go all the way.
Absolutely, Lewis. Now, you yourself are undefeated in your heat races. You've won 3 out of 3. You've still got 1 to come. It's you more than anyone here will be understanding how it is for Matthias Grooten to win 4 out of 4. Is incredible, isn't it? I mean, you'll be going for that as well, I'm sure.
Oh yes, indeed. Have to see how track 2 goes for me, because it went pretty good yesterday. Didn't quite get the pole, but still managed to get the victory. Not by very much, but just obviously just concentrate as hard as I can. just pull a good lap together and hopefully just take the pole position and get away.
Absolutely. Pole position's one thing, and it is tough to achieve, but the race win is what's paying the points, isn't it? So, right then, we've got this next race coming up now. We are looking potentially at a win from Anwar Brule-Smith, Bjorn Vermeulen, possibly even Oliver Baiani, maybe Holcroft, maybe Endine. There's the list goes on. Michael Weddle, of course, is going to be looking to make up as many points as he can in his quest to continue in the championship. Obviously, after this round of heat races, some people will be out of the competition. Only the top 30 go through for 3 semi-finals, so a lot to play for. There's a lot of people in the mid-pack who are going to be pretty worried about making that top 30, and they'll be doing their level best to get in there. One of the potential winners taken to the track now for the qualifying, that's Bjorn Vermeulen. He was second out of the pits there. Well, it looks like Kim Enson's taken to the track. He's a potential winner. We saw second place from him earlier on, and Michael Holcroft, and it's really going to be a tough one, this one. Russell Endine now on the track, Anwar Brule-Smith and Oliver Baiani. Tough competitors, everyone here. So here now with Michael O'Brien. Michael O'Brien, we saw you trying to tackle the former world champion Matthias Grün there. You were with him all the way, but unfortunately the pass wasn't on. Matt Barsh, of course, undefeated so far this weekend. He came in third. How was it?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing really. Obviously I had the speed to win, made a small mistake in qualifying. So once I got past Matt, I knew I could catch up to the guy in the lead. So yeah, when I caught him up, he was just defending really well all the way, so unfortunately I couldn't get past.
Absolutely. We saw you have a little look a couple of times. There was a collision though with you and Matt Barsh. Did that kind of kill the momentum a little bit? Yeah,
a little bit. Obviously Matthias sort of lunged down the inside, and then obviously I had to do it then and there, so I dived down the inside. It was a bit narrow, but all legit, so...
That's fair. I mean, it does take some fairly robust moves to get ahead of people of this calibre in this competition. So how do you feel about your chances now, though? Because you've got some good results in the bag, clearly gaining points you need to get through to the semi-final and the final. Are you feeling fairly confident?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hopefully I can move one place higher up in the semi, and then should be in a good position for the final, hopefully.
Superb. Well, we've got the qualifying results in now, and look at this, I'm sat here with Michael O'Brien, who we've just seen come second in a big battle against former world champion Matthias Grün. We've got Oliver Baiani on the pole position. Now that's quite interesting. Anwar Brule-Smith is somebody that we know is capable of winning. Kim Enson, we've seen great results from him. Bjorn Vermeulen's fourth, and Russell Endine fifth. Michael Holcroft, I'm sure we've seen Holcroft win a race earlier on, and so...
This one could get me some good points.
What do you think about this one, Michael O'Brien?
Well, I'm quite glad Russell was in fifth, actually. So hopefully he'll lose a few points from that. Obviously it's going to be super close in the race like it always is on this second track, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Absolutely, and we've got such a huge entry list. We've got about 90 people in the event, and yet only 30 people can go through to the semi-final, so there's a lot of people with a lot to gain or lose from this, really, isn't there?
There definitely is. I think Bjorn Vermeulen as well as Russell and Anwar are all pretty much in the top 10 or just around it. So yeah, it's a lot to play for in this one.
Superb. Well, we're going to get this heat race underway now. We've got Oliver Baiani, who's going to be leading the way. He's got Anwar Brule-Smith right in his tail. Now, Anwar Brule-Smith does need to make up quite a lot of points in this. I think he's going to be all out to win this one, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's got nothing to lose now, really. I think he'll go for it straight from the off.
Yeah, I think so too, but Baiani's certainly got the jump on the start. They're underway now, and Baiani leads from Anwar Brule-Smith and Kim Enson and Bjorn Vermeulen. Now, Bjorn Vermeulen and Kim Enson, we've seen race each other before, they're pretty evenly matched, and they're running third and fourth down there. So this could be interesting for their points battle. They need points to make way through to the semi-final now. And here they come down the backstretch. There we are. That's Baiani the leader, Anwar Brule-Smith and Kim Enson in third place. A little bit, final three is falling away. It's Frank Crossley backwards, falling away a little bit. Michael Weddle making a move on the inside. A very robust pass of Michael Holcroft. Michael Holcroft got bundled out of the way. We'll see what the officials do in terms of flags for that one. No, they deemed it fair, very hard, but fairly fair. About the best way of describing that one. And so Michael Weddle, a seriously robust move on Michael Holcroft. and that bumps him up the order to 6th. So, meantime, leading Oliver Bayani, but he's got Anwar Barul Smith having a sniff on either side there, and Kim Ensign and Bjorn Vermeulen. So Oliver Bayani not able to pull away in the lead here. There's a big group of 5. Russell Endine in 5th place there. Michael Weddle is in 6th place, as we saw him making a move. And the leaders carry on round. It's still Oliver Bayani, but he's got a lot of work to do. And Barul Smith at the inside. Barul Smith takes the lead, but Bayani, and Bayani in the wall. Bayani down to 4th, Bayani down to 5th possibly. And well, it's all going on. And who's come out of this bundle in the lead? It's Kim Ensign. Kim Ensign, and look at this, side by side down the backstretch. Surely it's going to end in tears. Look at this in that final turn there. As Kim Ensign increases lead, there's Ensign in the lead. This is his big chance. And we're going to have some action there down the corner. Weddle getting bumped out of the way by Russell Endine, really getting forceful here. As Russell Endine side by side with Michael Weddle, and it's out of camera shot. And not Bjorn Vermeulen. Russell Endine has got shoved in the wall, and he's lost even more time. So, my goodness, it's some serious action going on. There's more bumping and boring than we've seen in the whole contest so far. So quite a lot of fighting going on. We've got Sean Briley just come into the commentary box. Sean, what do you make of this race? It's a real tough one, yeah?
Yeah, well, I was just downstairs a second ago as Oliver Bayani pits, having just lost the lead.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. That's a really good effort from him. Fairly unknown name in BRKC, but to stick that on pole ahead of the crowd we've got is a really good achievement. That's really impressive. Hopefully he can do what he did yesterday with that early pit stop, come back and finish back high up.
Absolutely. Oliver Bayani there we saw on the pole, and he was leading to begin with, but he got bundled out of the lead. Now, that put him into the mid-pack, and as a result of being in the mid-pack, he's kind of figured that the best thing he can do is get out of it. He feels, obviously, as he was on pole position, he feels fast, his car's obviously running well. He's pitting to try and get clear of the group he was in. So Oliver Bayani will be looking to make up time as he runs on his own. We've got championship organiser Brad Philpott in the commentary box. Brad, this is about the most forceful heat we've seen so far. What do you think?
Yeah, I just turned around and caught the start of the second lap, and it was all complete carnage. People being bundled down, freight trained. People, you get on the outside and there's a lot of carts on your inside, you lose a lot of places. And Russell Endine, I saw, was particularly disadvantaged at one point.
Absolutely, and the biggest beneficiary of that rugby scrum that we saw was Kim Ensign, but Kim Ensign is now being caught by 2nd and 3rd, which is the very formidable Anwar Barul Smith and Bjorn Vermeulen. Kim Ensign is going to be feeling some serious heat, I think, Brad.
Yeah, this is one of those races where I would have named 6 or 7 people at the start that could all won. So this is not over till it's over. I'm interested to see what Bayani does in clear air, and it looks like he's catching some traffic. So let's see.
And Anwar Barul Smith in the 15 has been given a bad pass flag. The overtake was good, but apparently he squeezed someone into the wall, and heck, we saw a lot of that going on earlier on. So Anwar Barul Smith is the one deemed to be most guilty from the action we've just seen. Anwar Barul Smith, of course, is the one who's second. Now it's a breakaway group of 3. Kim Ensign's leading. Anwar Barul Smith and Bjorn Vermeulen are following. Now Kim Ensign, really very much a local driver, but Barul Smith and Bjorn Vermeulen, drivers that we normally see on the world scene. So do you think Kim Ensign can hang on, Brad Philpott?
If this bad pass flag for Anwar means he's got to let Vermeulen pass, it's going to help Ensign temporarily, but if Vermeulen's quicker, then it's going to release him to attack Kim. So hopefully Kim's got the local moves to make this stick.
And side by side across the line they go with Holcroft taking from Weddle, and Weddle ends up in the wall. Weddle's waving about it. We'll see what the officials say. This is about the most robust heat we've seen.
15's up to be black, ignore the red.
So we've got a black flag for Anwar Barul Smith. The bad pass flag means he needs to let the other driver back through, and Anwar Barul Smith is going to be black flagged out of 2nd place. This surely will affect his championship, may even end his championship hopes, do you think, Brad?
Yeah, a penalty from that position is going to drop him a lot of points. He wasn't right at the top of the scoreboard already, so difficult to see sometimes who the red bad pass flag's being shown for, so I'm sure that's the point he's going to argue afterwards.
Absolutely. Meantime, we've got Russell Endine taking the pits. He rejoins behind Oliver Bayani, so when the pit stop cycle through, that will be a factor. But Kim Ensign really probably holding the leaders up a little bit. I don't think that Kim Ensign is quite as quick as those behind him. They're certainly all over him, and Anwar Barul Smith is going to have to answer this black flag at some point. Bjorn Vermeulen is on his case in 3rd place. as we see them coming into the snail section on screen. And really, Brad, Anwar has been given that black flag now. Where's he going to come out?
I haven't really worked it out. I'm under the impression that Anwar maybe doesn't realise it's for him yet. They're all very tight together, although Kim Enson's now got a little bit of a lead. But when he was shown all of his different flags, he would have been in a bunch. So I think he's going to argue the case that he just didn't know it was for him. But hopefully he doesn't get absolutely disqualified by ignoring the blacks. He's in now.
And Anwar Brule-Smith takes the pit stop. And Anwar Brule-Smith, his first stop is good. We can see him on screen here. On screen is Anwar Brule-Smith. That's the second part of the pit stop. Anwar Brule-Smith, who is a former world champion in the Formula 6, and another pit stopper, well, someone ending up in the pit lane. It's a battle there between Russell Endine and Oliver Baiani. The pit stopper is one of the tail enders. It is the 14 car, that's Frank Crossley. Frank Crossley is in 8th place, so he's a little bit down the order there, exiting the pits. But the race leader, Kim Enson, continues on his way. He's now got Bjorn Vermeulen, who's looking to challenge him, and Michael Holcroft is running in 3rd. We can see him crossing the line now. Down the back stretch to go. That's some of the lower order. But meantime, it is looking good for Kim Enson. Kim Enson really managing to take advantage of the fact that everybody else seems to be striking trouble or striking each other, Brad.
Yeah, Kim's just driving his own race, letting all the turmoil happen behind him. And each time someone gets close, he gets the benefit by, well, it's Anwar so far, of them having to drop back. So Vermeulen doesn't right now, like he's got the pace to drive straight up to the back of him. And we all know how hard it is to overtake. So.
Absolutely, and Kim Enson seems to be having the luckiest race of his championship, because Kim Enson, of course, as soon as someone gets near him, they seem to strike one form of trouble or another.
Yeah, and still the gap's not really closing, is it? Vermeulen's a very, very tough competitor, and if anyone's going to be able to catch up, it's him. And right now he's not doing it. So.
Absolutely right. What could help Vermeulen, though, is the fact that fairly soon, in about 4 or 5 laps, they will be catching up with the tail end of the field now, unless, of course, they pit. The question, of course, will be, does Kim Enson feel that he needs to pit to avoid the back markers, or will Kim Enson stay out there and try and fight his way through?
Anwar's pitted, but we don't know if that was just a pit or if it was just the black flag, so when that pit closing ball comes out, we're going to have to find out.
He will need to pit.
Yeah, I would point strongly at him if he hasn't come in again. Just make sure he knows.
He's shown it once he saw it, and then every time he starts that, he can't be away.
Okay, well, you're probably hearing on the...
We need to do something else for everyone, but it's fast for contact for 5 minutes. It really needs to calm down a bit. There's a lot of fast over.
Okay, so online there, you can probably hear the officials talking away about... they're a bit disappointed, but Bjorn Vermeulen has taken the lead from Kim Enson. Bjorn Vermeulen taking the lead. You can see him in the very distance on your screens there, if you're watching at home. And those viewers at home on the live feed can probably also hear the information from the race control. They're looking obviously at the amount of contacts taking place in this heat race. Normally at this kind of level and world level, there's not very much contact at all. The drivers cancelling each other out, and everyone trying to drive as clean as they can. But this heat race has certainly seen an excessive amount of contact. We've seen penalty for Anwar Brule-Smith. Now, the question is, will Anwar Brule-Smith realise that he actually received the penalty? Was that pit stop he made to take his penalty, or does he think that's just his standard pit stop? His penalty, the pit stop he made as a penalty, is not the one he can make as the standard pit stop he has to make. So, effectively, Brule-Smith, instead of having 1 pit stop, will have to make 2. So, Brule-Smith, the question is, will he realise that? Because he will get an even further penalty if he doesn't stop again. Meantime, though, Bjorn Vermeulen is now catching the back markers. The first back markers waving him through. Really working hard to get out of the way there, and so a good bit of work there by the back marker, allowing Bjorn Vermeulen ahead, and Vermeulen actually is pulling away a bit from Kim Enson in 2nd place. They're coming onto the back stretch now, so here comes Vermeulen in the grey suit. Is he going to make a move on the inside of the back marker? No, he doesn't. So there's Vermeulen in the grey suit. The one behind him with the blue helmet is Kim Enson running 2nd place. Now, Vermeulen really is looking good for victory here, I'd say. He's already starting to wave at the officials about the back marker. He doesn't really need to worry too much. Here comes the blue flag. The back marker gets out of the way. Holcroft pits out of 3rd place. That's the one we're looking at in the pit lane now. And Michael Holcroft resumes. So Michael Holcroft has resumed in about 4th. but he's come out ahead of a big battle. That's Michael Weddle behind. Now, if we look at this one, Brad, Michael Holcroft managed to get out just ahead of Weddle, Bayani and Ending, but that's a pretty impressive foursome battling there on the far side of the course.
Yeah, Holcroft's actually been a bit of a surprise for me this weekend. I didn't know much of him before this event, and he's really been right in the front in every race. Right now he's got 3 real heavy hitters right behind him, and soon to be another one once Anwar Barrell-Smith takes his penalty. So he's actually pulled himself very far forward in another race. So just one other point, Oliver Bayani's early stop there hasn't worked out particularly well for him.
Well, that's absolutely right. Oliver Bayani, of course, was on the pole, he was leading, and it all got a bit messy for him, and he was one of the losers in all the rugby scrum that was going on. Bayani, his list is running 6 at the moment. He is in that big group. Really, Bayani, he may struggle to make the semi-final at this rate. We have seen him win, but this is going to be a huge points loss for him. So he's under a lot of pressure to get to the front of this group and then maybe close the gap and even possibly close on the leaders if he can. But it's going to be a big ask for Bayani. He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and in a heat like this where there's so many big names, so many of the top drivers, there's going to be a lot of very disgruntled people after this particular one. I'm not looking forward to meeting them directly after the race. Race control are going to have a few grumbles on their hands.
Yeah, race control is going to have a big job on after this heat race. It was all getting a bit marginal down there. Not only are the guys very fast in this heat race, we've probably got the most robust drivers of the lot in the same race, because Anwar Barrell-Smith is not someone you're going to shove out the way, nor is Russell Ending, nor is Michael Weddle, and that's just 3 I can think of. But well, another bit of problem there for Kim Henson. He's working his way past the back marker, lost a bit of time there. Bjorn Vermeulen though, Bjorn Vermeulen is looking very good now. He's really trying to pull away. He's got a big lead. He can come out, he can come in the pits and probably, at the very worst, be second. What do you think, Brad, looking at the signs?
Yeah, there's such a big gap now between the leading duo, now Anwar's out of the picture, and then the main pack. So yeah, I think Bjorn being clear out, shouldn't have any further problems. It looks like quite a straightforward win now. He's got past Kim.
Well, we're reckoning on about maybe somewhere in the region of 10 laps to go now, and Bjorn Vermeulen has come out of this kerfuffle and he's come out with a good lead. And Bjorn Vermeulen is really racing away well. There's Kim Henson on screen now. Here comes Bjorn Vermeulen into view on the screen. He's leading the way. There's Kim Henson in second. And Vermeulen, that's the kind of lead he's got. Now, Henson, we can see, is vaguely within striking distance. He's a couple of seconds behind. But then it's a huge gap to Barrell-Smith, who's third. But Barrell-Smith, we know, has to take another penalty. We know that. The question is, does Anwar Barrell-Smith know it? Because there have been some cases this weekend where people have taken penalties they didn't need to take, so they were for other people. They thought it was for them. And other people, which Anwar Barrell-Smith may find he's in that position, where people are actually not, they've been given a penalty, but they don't realise it's actually for them. Might it be that Anwar doesn't realise he's got to come in again, Brad?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. And part of the problem is race control can't just show him another black flag, which would force him to come in, because then if he does know he already has another stop to do, he'll do an additional one. So they're just going to have to rely on him realising the situation, hopefully point at him when the pitch closing board comes out, just to ram home that he does have to still make a stop.
Absolutely, because if Anwar Barrell-Smith misses that, he's going to find himself with a major penalty, and it really will throw him down the order, possibly even ending his championship charge. Certainly someone whose championship charge is looking better by the second, that is Bjorn Vermeulen. Bjorn Vermeulen racing away in the lead here, and Vermeulen there in the white suit is being chased by the blue suit of Kim Henson, and Kim Henson really showing well, but no chance, I don't think, of him catching Bjorn Vermeulen. They both need to make a pit stop, so it will be important, but they've got a comfortable lead over third and fourth. Now, Barrell-Smith is 11 seconds behind them in third, but we know he's got to come in once more. Michael Holcroft, who doesn't need to pit again, is 15 seconds behind. So there's absolutely no question that Vermeulen and Henson are going to rejoin the race first and second. So it's all about them for the win. And Vermeulen does look like he's got this one covered. Only about half a dozen laps remaining now, really. Anwar Barrell-Smith stays out. We don't know if he knows he's got to come in again. That's going to be the key thing, because Barrell-Smith is running third, and he may not realise he's got to come in again. He did get a penalty, but he has pitted. We don't know if that was him taking his penalty or just a random pit stop. So only Anwar Barrell-Smith knows that one at the moment, and I think the officials are going to try and make it fairly plain to him that he doesn't need pit. And in the pits is Bjorn Vermeulen, the race leader pits. The first stop is good. And it's all going to be about where Kim Ensign is. So Vermeulen takes the top again. Ensign has taken the lead, and here comes Burrell Smith. Burrell Smith's going to try and fight Vermeulen. Burrell Smith, he's coming out right behind Vermeulen down the inside. Oh, Vermeulen's in the wall. Vermeulen's in the wall. A contact with Anwar Burrell Smith, and Anwar Burrell Smith, we know he's a feisty driver, but my goodness, he's in the walls this weekend, and in this particular heat race. So, Brad, Anwar Burrell Smith again, is he going to get another penalty?
I know he's had his problems, but I have to say, I think Anwar was not at fault there. Anwar was fully clear on the inside. Bjorn just chose to hang on when it was completely lost already, and he just drove himself nose on into the wall. In my opinion. Sorry,
Brad, I'm going to talk over you there, because Kim Ensign is in the pits, and Anwar Burrell Smith is going to pass Kim Ensign for the lead. They're side by side, but Kim Ensign's in... Kim Ensign holds the lead. Kim Ensign holds the lead. Bjorn Vermeulen, of course, we saw get well stuffed up earlier on. He came to a halt and lost a lot of time. So Kim Ensign now has the advantage and has the lead. Now, Ensign, if we can see on the screen where Ensign is, he's on the back stretch, but he's got Burrell Smith trying one side the other. Here they come. Ensign thinks he's in a fight for the lead. He's not. Ensign thinks he's in a fight for the lead because he does not know about Burrell Smith's penalty. He thinks this is race position, and he's got a back marker ahead. There they go across the line. Back marker ahead, I think, is Thomas Clark, but Ensign's going to somehow work his way through. Clark has not been given the blue flag, but he's moved out of the way anyway. He realises he's not in contention with that race behind him, and he lets both the leaders through. Now, Burrell Smith is still running second, but he has a penalty to serve. Very lucky he hasn't got an extra penalty to serve with Vermeulen there, but as Brad pointed out, when Ensign was pitting, that well, I guess it comes down to a man's got to be somewhere. He can't disappear, can he?
Yeah, and on the very next lap, Ensign made exactly the same pass on Anwar. Anwar backed out, kept that second position there, and no problems.
Absolutely. So it could be that Vermeulen.
So you've decided, okay. So
Anwar Burrell Smith, we just heard. Anwar Burrell Smith has been given a second penalty. Oh my goodness, it's falling apart from the South Coast driver here. Anwar Burrell Smith is running in second. He's got another penalty serve and a standard pit stop. So Anwar Burrell Smith, there he is on screen. There's Kim Ensign leading the way with Burrell Smith close behind in second. But Burrell Smith has 2 more pit stops to make and only about 2 or 3 laps to make them. So what's going to happen here? It's going to be very interesting. There could be some arguments after this race about who's exactly finished where. Now, as far as Kim Ensign is concerned, he's in a battle for the lead, but Burrell Smith actually has 2 pit stops to make, which is going to cost him almost a lap. So side by side down the back straight there, on screen there, that's Burrell Smith on the left side, and big battle going on behind. But Burrell Smith is trying to chase down the leader, Kim Ensign, but Burrell Smith needs to be in the pits, and here's the last lap board. Burrell Smith, well, this is going to get messy now because Burrell Smith has time only for 1 pit stop, but he's got to make 2, his penalty one and his actual one. So it's fallen apart from the South Coast driver there, Anwar Burrell Smith, and well, he's pretty fiery, and this could be an interesting post-race situation with Burrell Smith. Kim Ensign realises now that he's within striking distance of the win. And Burrell Smith's going to try and take the win, but he's going to be disqualified out of that, no question at all. So Kim Ensign probably has 1 more lap to do. And Anwar Burrell Smith right on his case, but has penalty and an actual pit stop to take. So Kim Ensign leading the way. It's Holcroft who's 3rd on paper. Bjorn Vermeulen has been passed by Oliver Bajani, so Vermeulen going down the order. Now, he was looking so good for the win, but he's now down about 6th or 7th place. Anyway, here comes Kim Ensign to take the win. So a great job there by Kim Ensign, a fantastic win. There he goes across the line. It's Kim Ensign who wins from, well, we think Anwar Burrell Smith and Michael Holcroft came from nowhere to close in on that lead there. Really close 3rd place, and 4th place Michael Weddle, 5th Russell Ending, 6th Oliver Bajani, and poor old Bjorn Vermeulen is wound up 7th somehow. And well, there's going to be some contention after this race. There's no way Burrell Smith's going to be listed in 2nd. Where he falls to, well, that's anyone's guess. It's really going to be quite a dodgy one, that.
Wow.
And I'm up here with Championship organiser Brad Philpott. Obviously, Brad, the track here at Formula Fast, they dictate the penalties, they dictate the rules. Your job is purely organising the championship, not organising the race situations. But what on earth is going to happen with Anwar Brule-Smith? Because he had one penalty, he needed to pit for that, he took that pit stop. He hasn't made either his second penalty pit stop or his actual pit stop that he should make in the race. How does this work out?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Anwar there, what started off as a pretty minor offence, as a bad pass that can just involve letting the driver back through, escalated a lot into a black flag when either he didn't realise the bad pass flag was for him or he chose to ignore it, and then another black flag, and then, and if anyone's under any doubts whether I have influence over race control, I disagree actually with the second black flag, but it's not my decision, so yeah, another black flag. So he's probably going to get a lap penalty, full lap penalty for not pitting, for effectively not pitting when he was supposed to. And he'll probably get a disqualification on top of that, which basically means last place. For what was the other offence? I've forgotten. There's so many things going on.
Anwar's list of offences in that race is fairly long now, isn't it? Having said that, there was a lot of other people who can consider themselves pretty lucky to get away. I think Anwar Brule-Smith obviously taking the rap there, but what has been Anwar's downfall has taken the eye off a few misdemeanours of other people. There's a few other people who may have found themselves pretty lucky to get away with a penalty themselves. Pretty rough driving in that heat, I think.
Yeah, I have to say, as a championship organiser, that kind of race is a nightmare. And poor race control and Phil and Ollie and the guys maybe have a little mess to sort out there in terms of talking to people and making sure the next race isn't quite as violent. But yeah, that's not the kind of race we prefer to see. We like it to all be nice and smooth and without too much controversy. So hopefully it will be more like that going forward.
Absolutely, and of course, if anyone's going to make the right call, it's going to be the guys at Formula Fast. This is the second year that the British Rental Car Championship has been here at Milton Keynes with Formula Fast, and we've generally seen very good calls. They've had to deal with some controversial situations, but good calls throughout. But we'll just have to see what their take is on this one. Certainly not an easy job given to them by Anwar Brule-Smith and the others, it has to be said. But Anwar clearly the one taking the rap in this occasion. But we've got another heat race to look forward to. Some good drivers coming up in this one. We've got Jordan Donegan, Alexander Damien, James Shrimpton, Dan Healy, Kyle Power, Tyler Mays, Mike Coppin, Michael Woods, Piers Pryor and Jack Woodfield in this one. My money really on this one would be Piers Pryor or Dan Healy for the win. What do you reckon about this Heat 3, Brad?
Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. I was actually looking at the live feed there at the discussions going on in the pit, so let's have a quick look. Heat 3. Okay,
so Heat 3, I'm thinking that it's Piers Pryor and maybe Dan Healy potential for the win.
Yeah, both of those guys have been very good this weekend, particularly Piers. He's won a race or two, hasn't he? Mike Coppin's done well. I saw him drive very well in a cold car. Who else have we got? Alexander Damien also knows his way around here. Jordan Donegan was running near the front until maybe losing a bit of time in the middle of his last race. So we've got a few guys here who have the potential. My money's on Piers.
Yeah, I think Piers is going to be the safest bet. Piers is certainly the only one in this next race who has won. In fact, we're looking at him on screen now, the number 9. He's actually going to be taking the qualifying from the tail of the field. The other one that might tip for the win there, the one with second in there with the Union Jack fairly Jensen Button inspired helmet up at the front, that's Dan Healy. He's second in the lineup, and the 8 kart in first place there. I'm going to see something from him, but 15 there. I think Dan Healy is in with a shout of winning this one. For my money, it's going to be between Healy and Pryor, but well, we'll see what happens during the race itself. As Brad pointed out, we've seen some good racing by Mike Coppin. Mike Coppin we've seen in the 3rd place already, and that was arguably a tougher heat than what we're seeing here. So Kyle Power possibly might show something there. Tyler Mays, we've seen quite a lot in the BRKC, and Alexander Damien and Jordan Donegan can't be ruled out. But I think out of the two, Dan Healy and Piers Pryor are the places to look for if you're looking for a winner. Okay, so in the commentary box now we've got Dave Longman. Now, Dave, we've seen you already this morning lead a race, and you've been in quite a tough heat. How are you feeling about the competition generally?
It's been really tough, but I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, you against some of the best drivers in the UK and Europe, world even, and I can say I was leading Matthew Scruton, albeit not truly, I hadn't pitted, but I want a photo to show me in front of him. Yeah,
that sounds like a thing, David. You're picking up on the standard of the competition. There are 4 world champions, 4 former world champions in this that I can count right now. So, in fact, no, 5 world champions. In fact, if you count people who've won junior championships too. So, a really, really strong contest. Is it very tough? Is it as tough as it looks out there?
Oh, tougher than it looks. Like, one small mistake and you'll never get that time back. You know, you're talking hundreds, not tenths, against some drivers, and then there's others that are just so fast you don't know how to drive like that. But yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes it looks like people are doing it with mirrors, doesn't it? So onto the circuit they go. The first carts are running out. It looks like it's Jordan. Looks like it's Jordan Donegan leading the way. Jordan Donegan looks like he's leading the way, and Dan Healy's going to be the second one out. So, qualifying session underway for this next heat race. Well, the qualifying's been concluded now, and we'll see who comes out on top. It looks good for Mike Coppin at the moment. My goodness, Mike Coppin, who we've seen, I think his best result's been a third, but he's come in on the pole position ahead of Dan Healy and Piers Pryor. Kyle Powers after that, and then Jordan Donegan, James Shrimpton we've seen a lot of. Tyler Mays is there, and Michael Woods, Chad Woodfield as well, and Alexandra Damien. So, well, we'll see what's happened. We've had a bit of an incident here in the commentary box. Our producer's taken a bit of a tumble, so hopefully we'll have him back in camera action as soon as possible, giving us the right pictures. But certainly exciting moment for us in the commentary box, if not on the track. But the excitement on the track seems to be Mike Coppin. Mike Coppin not really expected to come out in front of Dan Healy or Piers Pryor, but that's exactly what's happened. And so Mike Coppin will be taking it from the front.
And that call was incredible there. Travel the seat on my back.
So there he is on screen now. We're seeing the number 20 cart up in front. That's Mike Coppin with the blue helmet and the grey suit. There he is leading the way. So we're going to get this heat race underway now. It's Coppin from Healy and Piers Pryor. Now Piers Pryor is a former junior world champion and certainly knows how to drive a kart. He's won one heat race, but he's third in this one. So there goes Coppin, Healy and Pryor leading the way out. Kyle Powers up to fourth place in there. So we'll see what Kyle Power can do. We've seen Kyle Power trying his best, not really able to get quite the results at the front, but Kyle Power is certainly a strong midfield competitor. This is his chance really. Oh, and Piers Pryor making a move on Healy already. A bit of a robust one, but well, it's worked out for him, but it's worked out even better for Mike Coppin, because Mike Coppin has benefited by being able to pull away as the ones behind him fought. So Mike Coppin leads the way in the blue helmet there. He's crossing the start-finish line. out of the stadium area. On screen we've, as I say, we've got a bit of an incident with our producer, so we're just looking purely at the TV picture with the corner at the end of the long straight. So I'll keep you viewers at home informed, just while our producer gets a little bit of medical attention, just taking a tumble. Anyway, interview now, here they come. It's the leader, it's Mike Coppin, and there's Piers Pryor. We're moving towards the stadium area now. So here they come interview in the stadium area. That's Mike Coppin. Now Piers Pryor is close right and on Coppin for the lead. So Pryor clearly going notably quicker and made inroads already on Coppin. In fact, he's trying to take the lead. Pryor getting very racy there with Dan Healy behind him. And there they are in the distance there, going to the far end of the racetrack. It's still Coppin with that lead, but look at Piers Pryor and the pink helmet behind him. He really is trying his level best to do something here. They're coming down the backstretch. It's Coppin with the lead. He's getting defensive already. Pryor to the outside of the pink helmet and Dan Healy in third. That's Kyle Power fourth and Jordan Donegan fifth, and that 5-car breakaway with the 19 of Tyler Mays trying to stay with them, but Tyler Mays is falling away. It's a 5-car breakaway for the lead, led by Mike Coppin.
So Amor has obviously got off on his Godway Cross. So that's why he's Godway Cross is one of the best practices. Unfortunately, he didn't see anything about it last night. He got shot.
He needed to make 2 more stops, didn't he?
He didn't do 2 stops, so he's going to get to that side of the race control and the nose and showing there. They need to look at
They all know that.
you go down the back of the speed path and you can go
Okay, so we've now got a change of lead though. It's Piers Pryor who's taken the lead from Mike Coppin. Mike Coppin is now down in second place, and Piers Pryor seems to be clearing off in the distance. Now, can Piers Pryor make a big enough lead to get away in the distance? We've seen Jordan Donegan take to the pits. He was at the back of that lead group, but definitely at the front of the lead group is Piers Pryor. Now coming down the backstretch, there's Piers Pryor with Mike Coppin behind, and Dan Healy is next in line to have a crack at Mike Coppin. Mike Coppin running right at the front there. He has been put to second place, but he's still ahead of Dan Healy, who's chasing him hard for that second place. Obviously a lot cleaner this race than the last one we saw, and Anwar Barul Smith has picked up multiple penalties, it seems, and race control just urging everybody to really try and pay attention to the penalty flags and to serve penalties that are given. So just been making sure that people are aware when they're given penalties is what race control want to do. But meantime, no chance for a penalty at the moment for him. It's Piers Pryor leading the way. He's starting to pull a bit of a distance there. There he is in the pink helmet. That's Mike Coppin, followed by Dan Healy. So Piers Pryor taking off in the distance, and Mike Coppin doing his best, but certainly falling back all the time. Dan Healy falling back with him. Another pit visitor. Well, that looks like James Shrimpton in the 12. Yes, it is James Shrimpton. He now rejoins. He's in 9th place now. And he's just ahead of Alexandra Damien, who's bringing up the rear in 10th. So, there we are as we come through that turn at the end of the straight there. You can see that Piers Pryor really has a great lead now. And Mike Coppin is now leading that battle for second place. 4 karts fighting for second place. So I've got Lewis Manley up here. Lewis obviously on an undefeated streak. Lewis, how do you feel this race is shaping up?
Looking good for the leader. He started to second and made a nice manoeuvre. It's all about the battle for second because it's very tight. You can see second, third, fourth, fifth just going through the snell section, then coming onto the straight. But you can see Mike Coppin clearly defending from Dan. He's obviously got to try and stay ahead and focus on what's the task ahead and try and keep him behind.
Absolutely, it is looking very good for Piers Pryor. He has a healthy lead, he knows it. He's trying to disappear. Mike Coppin at the moment arguably is his best friend because Coppin is keeping those guys back. I think Dan Healy actually is faster than Coppin as a rule, but catching is one thing, being faster is one thing, passing is another. So in fact he's making a move there. He's gone one side, now he's trying the other, but Healy in turn has lost a place, has he? Kyle Power's getting in on the action, and Kyle Power almost takes that third place away from Healy. That gives Coppin some breathing space, and guess what? It gives Pryor in the lead even more breathing space. So Pryor extending his lead out. Pryor looking very good for the win, even at this early stage. Not even 10 laps complete, but Pryor seems to be home and dry on this one. He's pulling away all the time in that lead. There he is with the pink helmet. And looking at the screen now, there's Pryor just in the background there. He's coming through the snail section. There's Pryor on his own in the background. and there's Coppin, followed by the rest. So Pryor really is looking good on this one. Down the back straight to go. There's the lead that Pryor's got. There goes Pryor through the lead, and here comes Coppin, and there's Healy. Now Healy's got the full attention of Kyle Power. It's Kyle Power who's trying to work on the third place driver of Dan Healy, and Kyle Power comes in the pits. Power takes the pits. We'll see what happens here. Kyle Power is in the pits, pitting out of 4th place. His first stop's good. There's Power we're looking at now in the pit lane in the 14, and Kyle Power now rejoins the race. He's rejoining in about 6th place, but Jordan Donnings has taken him, so Kyle Power down to 7th now. Right then, so here's Pryor in the lead with Mike Coppin. Now Mike Coppin is being closed in on again by Dan Healy. Dan Healy lost a bit of time, and so Dan Healy is closing in. It was Kyle Power who was trying to fight with Dan Healy. We saw Kyle Power come into the pits, so that's given Dan Healy a little bit of breathing space to work a bit harder on the back of Mike Coppin while he's got time to do it. Meantime, out on his own, the pink helmet, there he is, just going through the Snell section, and onto the back stretch. Onto the back stretch comes Piers Pryor. Piers Pryor has an even bigger lead than before. So we're looking on the camera view on the stadium area. Here comes Piers Pryor. There he is with the pink helmet. And now we've gone back to the previous corner. So Piers Pryor now going away in the distance. There's Ben Bennyworth we're seeing on camera. Ben Bennyworth will be up in the next heat. Meantime on track though, we've got Piers Pryor with a huge lead, and Dan Healy is pitted, and Dan Healy has rejoined the race. Dan Healy's joined behind Jordan Donegan. Oh, and a big piece of contact. Kyle Power and Dan Healy getting together, and Kyle Power has taken the position. Obviously the officials will probably be looking at that one. They're a big barge there, but Kyle Power and Dan Healy are fighting out. They're down the order at the moment, but we'll see that works out after the cycle of pit stops. So Piers Pryor has the lead, and it seems to be Tyler Mays who's now working on the back of Mike Coppin. Mike Coppin has the full attention of Tyler Mays. Another one of the back markers in the pits. I think it's I'm not sure it is. It looks like Woods. Just getting our timing back on. We've got Piers Pryor leading from Mike Coppin and Tyler Mays at the moment. Jordan Donegan's listed in 4th. He's been in the pits already. And there's Piers Power in the pink helmet on screen now. And that's the battle for second. In fact, into the pits comes Mike Coppin. So Tyler Mays goes through to second. There's Tyler Mays with the white helmet. And in the pit lane, it's Mike Coppin who pitted out second place. There he is on the second part of the pit stop. And he comes out, and Jordan Donegan moves ahead. Jordan Donegan's moved ahead. We've got a battle there. Kyle Power versus Dan Healy, side by side across the line into the section after that. And certainly Kyle Power still hangs on in there. Kyle Power and Dan Healy having quite a tough battle this whole race long. Very forceful lap there, and we've got Tyler Mays coming through. So there's Pryor, and here comes Tyler Mays' interview with the white helmet. He's running second now. Tyler Mays started some way down the order, but he seems to have pulled his way up to the front. I'm here with Lewis Manley, who's won 3 races, so he knows how to win round here. What do you think of Tyler Mays' performance? Started about 7th or 8th, now he's running second, and there he is, not far off the leader.
Absolutely, he's looking very quick out there. He's probably going to wait for a little bit longer to come in, because if he decides out, he's going to get more clear air, and he can also get out of the battle with Mike and the other guys. If he keeps going, he could possibly catch the leader. He's obviously lapping a little bit quicker as well, so he set the better time. It's only a 2 or 3 seconds difference, so if he keeps going, he could really be a threat.
So you heard it there from Lewis Manley, who's won 3 races. He knows how to win around this track. So Tyler Mays, really this is his best performance so far in the championship. Now he hasn't pitted yet, but he is some way ahead of Jordan Donegan. So it could well be that Tyler Mays could end up coming from the back of the field to the front. So through across the line, there's the pink helmet of Piers Pryor, and here is Tyler Mays in second. A great showing there by Tyler Mays. Certainly his best performance. We know he's fast, but he hasn't really shown anything so far this competition, and now he's running second place. So a great Sunday morning start by Tyler Mays. But it is Piers Pryor who leads the way. Kyle Power, who I was thinking of there, he's running in 5th. Jordan Donegan has moved himself into 3rd place. One of the earliest pit stops we saw from Jordan Donegan. Won the first pit stop out of this race, and he's now running 3rd. So looking very good for Donegan. Piers Pryor, though, there he is, continues to circulate. There's Tyler Mays. So Piers Pryor continues to circulate in the lead with Tyler Mays about matching him for distance, and Tyler Mays really is going to be more concerned about Jordan Donegan and the fact that he is about 10 seconds behind him, because when Tyler Mays takes the pit stop, it's about where Jordan Donegan is that he's going to come out. So, down the backstretch, there's Piers Pryor. There he is with the pink helmet. Here comes Tyler Mays in pursuit. That's Tyler Mays there in view, and there's Pryor. And here comes Mays into view now with the white helmet. And we'll see where Jordan Donegan is, because he's about 10 seconds back from Tyler Mays. And Jordan Donegan is really the point of interest from Tyler Mays' point of view. I don't believe he's actually going to catch the leader, but he could end up second in this race, and that will be a heck of a job considering he started near the tail of the field. Very difficult to pass here, and Tyler Mays is doing all the right moves and making up a lot of positions. This could really help his championship charge. Looking for one of the leaders to pit. We've got Piers Pryor going through, we've got Tyler Mays going through, both of them staying out. Surely the 1-2 of the race is going to be what the position is now. Piers Pryor ahead of Tyler Mays. Jordan Donegan's third, and a big battle behind. Coppin, Bauer, Healy. Dan Healy is now running sixth. We did see him running right at the front earlier on, but he's down to sixth place. He's been battling with Piers Pryor and Mike Coppin for some time. Okay, so Piers Pryor, he does not pit. Tyler Mays, he does not pit either, so the two leaders carry on the track. Still no pit stops from either of them. I've got a feeling now that they're both clear enough to make a pit stop and still rejoin first and second. Pryor certainly is not really under threat from Tyler Mays. Tyler Mays is keeping him honest in terms of lap time, but I think Piers Pryor's got this one in the bag if he can just keep maintaining the speed he's doing. There he is on screen, pink helmet. Here's Tyler Mays now. And then there's a big gap to Jordan Donegan, getting up just over 10 seconds from Tyler Mays to Jordan Donegan, and that's great news for Tyler Mays. He's going to be able to pit and get out ahead of Donegan. Here comes Donegan now into the stadium area. There's Donegan on your picture. White helmet, black and red suit. There's John Donegan just going across the line, and there's the Coppin, Power and Healy battle behind, and that's going to be something for Tyler Mays to want to stay out of, and he comfortably can pit and stay out of that battle. About 10 laps remaining now. We think it's done on time, of course, and into the pits comes the race leader, Piers Pryor. There's Piers Pryor in the pits. Tyler Mays passing him on the track. There you see it on the screen there as Tyler Mays takes the lead on the track, and Piers Pryor, not the greatest pit stop in the world, but he has actually got quite a healthy lead, so there's no reason to assume that he's going to lose this lead once Tyler Mays does make his pit stop. Tyler Mays does lead the race at the moment, but as we know, he's yet to make a stop. Piers Pryor carries on in second. Jordan Donegan not too far behind in third. So Jordan Donegan is actually able to see Pryor. There's Pryor coming down the backstretch in the big helmet, and there's Donegan chasing after him. There's Donegan in the red and black suit. So Donegan may well have the bit between his teeth and might well be after Pryor. Tyler Mays is actually going to come out possibly in between these guys, so that could be very interesting when Mays does indeed pit. We'll keep you posted on that, and then a huge battle behind is the Coppin, Power and Healy fight. These guys have been slugging it out all race long, and we're looking for Tyler Mays now. When is he actually going to pit? Here he comes into the stadium area. Will he pit this time? There he is on screen. He's not pitting. No, he's carrying on. He's going to leave this one till the last minute. Well, he's probably got about 8 laps or so remaining, so he does have time. He's running in clear air. He's able to make his pace, and a fast pace it is. He's about the quickest kart on the track at the moment. Yes, he is in fact the fastest. Tyler Mays, the current race leader, is the fastest, but he has yet to pit. Michael Weddle. Tyler Mays doing a great job in this race. We haven't seen him this far yet, have we?
Yeah, he's actually doing a really good job. He shows up from all the practice that he's done over at Club 100, so it's really paying off on that.
Michael Weddle, you were one of those racers who was in the really tough heat earlier on, a lot of bumping and boring. There was a lot of action there. What did you make of that?
I thought it was quite good fun from that point of view. My qualifying itself was really poor. I just totally focused on getting on trying to land on the back of people, see what happened. And then by the second lap, everyone was fighting, so I joined in a little bit.
It was good fun by the end, so I'm quite happy with the result.
And we saw you making a couple of robust moves yourself, mate.
Yeah, well, I've seen someone do it the last race beforehand, so I thought I'd join in and see if I could do it myself. So there you go.
I think a lot of people got some inspiration from Annalene Boutons earlier on, didn't they? But into the pits now, we've got the leader. It's Tyler Mays. Now this is important. There he is. The number 19 is Tyler Mays. He's jumping up and down in the cart to try and get some traction. Tyler Mays, and Power goes through. There's Power with the pink helmet. Power takes lead, and Tyler Mays and Jordan Donegan side by side for second place. Tyler Mays just takes it. Tyler Mays just takes it, but Jordan Donegan's on his place. Jordan Donegan's come through to third place. He was the first driver we saw take to the pits earlier on. And Donegan and Tyler Mays going to make a race for it over second place. Surely Piers Pryor's got this one in the bag now. Here he comes down the back straight. There's Pryor with the pink helmet, and here comes Tyler Mays with Jordan Donegan all over the back of him. There's Mays, there's Donegan, both white helmets, but Mays in the white suit. So Pryor goes through in the lead, and there is the battle for second. It's Mays versus Donegan. They're crossing the line once more. Mays versus Donegan, and Mays really is going to have his work cut out. Jordan Donegan's running third. We've not seen this kind of performance ever before from Jordan Donegan. He's really got the bit between his teeth this competition. He seems to qualify quite badly, but somehow has a knack of coming through. Early pit stops every time, and Donegan really showing some form we've not seen before in recent years. So a real surge forward in performance from Jordan Donegan running in third. So there's Tyler Mays, there's Jordan Donegan on the screen now. They're running through, so Tyler Mays is now able to pull away a little bit from Jordan Donegan, giving himself a bit of breathing space. Piers Pryor's up the road there, entering the Snell section now, as you can see in the background. That's Piers Pryor with the pink helmet and the white suit. There's Tyler Mays, and there's Jordan Donegan just in the background. So onto the backstretch they run. There's the leader, that's Piers Pryor, he's the race leader. Second place is Tyler Mays. Donegan now just falling back a little bit from Mays. We saw once Mays came out the pits, Donegan was right on his tail, but Donegan not quite able to stay there. So this will probably be the result, with Piers Pryor taking this heat win from Tyler Mays and Jordan Donegan. Certainly Pryor seemed to build up a bigger lead earlier. Tyler Mays and Donegan seemingly come out of nowhere, and both of them starting near the tail of the field and absolutely fired up to the top. Mike Coppin, he's still running third with Power fourth, Coppin fourth and Power fifth and Healy sixth. Their battle continues. They're on the backstretch now. So there's leader Pryor. There he is, and there's Tyler Mays. That's first, second and third, all in the same camera shot. Second Tyler Mays and third Jordan Donegan there on screen now. So that's a tight one, but Power seems to have opened a bit of a gap there over Dan Healy. Dan Healy now coming under attack from James Shrimpton. Just going sort of away for leaders for a second. Dan Healy, one of my tips for the win, is down in sixth place, and he's coming under pressure from seventh place, James Shrimpton. So Dan Healy struggling a little bit this weekend. Normally you see him a little bit further up, but a bit of a tough one for Dan. Still though, we've got Piers Power in the lead there, and Tyler Mays, Jordan Donegan, that's opening out a bit. They're sort of stabilising that 1, 2, 3. I think Tyler Mays may well be closing in a little bit on the leader. He's certainly running faster, 0.2 of a second faster. So it's not very much, I know, because as I say, if you count 0.2 of a second, it's not a lot of time at all. But certainly it's allowing him to inch up bit by bit, creeping up on the leader. And Jordan Donegan falling away a little bit in third. So there's the leader, there's second, there's third on the screen. So Piers Power continues to lead. I don't think he's going to be too worried about Tyler Mays. There's only a couple of laps to go now. Tyler Mays is doing his very best, even though he's closing in. Tyler Mays will have a lot of work to do to take that lead. Jordan Donegan continues to run third. He's falling back a bit, but that's a fairly safe third, because Mike Coppin is about 6 seconds behind him, and Mike Coppin's going to have to be worried himself. He's got Kyle Power absolutely on his case as they come into the Snell section. Those guys battling for fourth. Meantime, the flag is being readied. It's going to be a win surely for Piers Pryor. So here comes Piers Pryor. He's going to take the lead. He's in the stadium area now. Piers Pryor takes the win. That's Pryor crossing the line, and Mays crossing the line, and Jordan Donegan in third place crossing the line. Here's the battle though. It's Mike Coppin, and he's just about going to beat Kyle Power to the finish. Dan Healy and James Shrimpton there. James Shrimpton coming in seventh. And well, what a race that was. A real cat and mouse job. And Jordan Donegan and Tyler Mays coming up from the back of the field to take second and third. A great run by them, but a second win of the weekend for Piers Pryor, and that sets him up nicely. The former junior world champion there, winning this particular heat race. Here they come into the pits now, first, second and third. Pryor, there he is, Piers Pryor in the number 9 cards. Tyler Mays second in the 19. There's Tyler Mays with the white helmet there. You can see the GoPro on the top. He's just switching it off. I think I've had some pretty good footage from that one. And Jordan Donegan running third. So, as I was saying, the carts all weighted up, makes the drivers very equal on weight, and so no one can complain about being too light, too heavy, or anything like this. Okay, so a great showing there by Tyler Mays. He'll be really tickled on that one. And Jordan Donegan pretty chuffed in 4th place. There's Mike Coppin we're looking at now with the blue helmet and the grey suit. He had a good run. That's Carl Power coming towards us there. And drivers in the lower order. It looks like James Shrimpton. And drivers moving around. A lot of the drivers use weighted seats, as we can see there on the screen. Some of the drivers carrying the weight. That's Tyler Mays. He's got a block in his hand that slots into the cart, and there's Piers Pryor. He's holding his seat because he plus his seat makes up the total weight that goes into the cart, so everyone's weighted up evenly. He's got to pass this weight check. There he is on the scales there, and it does look like he's going to pass quite comfortably. Yes, he does. So a win there for Piers Pryor. That was the race winner. Well, we're looking now down ahead. There's Slavek Piskors, who we saw in heavy combat earlier on today and yesterday. Slavek's had quite a tough one. Very Ayrton Senna inspired helmet there. Slavek Piskors from Poland. He's a former speedway rider, so a bit more used to four wheels. Let's have another look at who's in this coming up race. So we've got Ben Bennyworth in this one, Xavier Andrew in this race too, Matt Curtis, Nicholas Robinson, Paul Davis, Michael Westhoff, Chris Pease, Marcus Riddell, Slavek Piskors and Lee Henderson. And out of that lot, this could well be Slavek Piskors' best chance of a win this weekend. Slavek Piskors, he's going to be leading them out to qualify and possibly the best bet for a win. He's really been showing well indeed, as Slavek, as I say, a former speedway rider from Poland, so he's a bit more used to two wheels, should I say, although he's adapted to karting well. He really started kart racing last year properly and ended up winning a title with Kart Sport, but here he is back in the British Rental Kart Championship. We saw him last year, and his performance is definitely better this year, and he's been running with the best of them. We saw him in that big battle there earlier today. Those watching on the live feed saw that. So just waiting for everyone to get themselves ready and get this race sent out. We've got Lee Henderson in this race too, and Lee could be a factor. I expect to find him getting nearer the front. He's done a lot of karting, particularly at Ella Park. He's very much an East Anglian man, and Ella Park over there has been his local stomping ground. He's won championships there now. He's got into the sort of winning habit as Lee Henderson. Obviously, British Rental Kart Championship with a very international field. Bit of a different proposition, but certainly Lee Henderson not looking shabby at all, and so expect to find a result there from Lee Henderson at some point. Arguably, looking at the others around him, this is going to be the best result. And up here we've got, in the commentary area, we've got Russell Ending. Russell, some serious beating and banging going on that earlier race. How was it from your point of view?
Yeah, where you described sort of karting as a non-contact sport, it certainly wasn't that. But I think, in all fairness, I think my part of the race was generally sort of WC. it's absolutely fantastic standard. So everyone's saying there's death heats here, there, and everywhere because it's the quality drivers throughout the field.
And how do you feel about your chances making through the semi-final and then hopefully into the final itself?
We'll have a look at the table in terms of where I'll be. I'm on 34 out of 40 points, so it's not a bad position to be at the moment. It's just whether sort of that fourth position in the final heats just put me slightly out of contention of the final, because I'm going to need a good position, or good result in the semi-final, try and push my way out there. But obviously, I think I'll be dependent on others' results.
Well, Russell Ending, we're just listening to there, and if anyone can do it, it's going to be Russell. Very formidable competitor as the qualifying is ending for this session here. We'll see who comes out on top. It looks like Slavek Piskorz at the moment. No, Matthew Curtis, Matt Curtis, and Lee Henderson in second place. Slavek Piskorz down third. Slavek Piskorz down fourth. Ben Bennywood has come in second. So Matt Curtis, well, we haven't seen him that high up at all in this competition. Now he's on the pole for this heat race. This could be his big chance. Okay then, so they're forming up on the front there. Well, Matthew Curtis, we've not seen anything like this from Matt Curtis so far, have we, Russell? Do you reckon he might even be able to take the win here?
So just look at the names, there's some good drivers behind him. I think it'll certainly be a tough one, but as I say, putting on pole is such a key part of the performance here. I think if he can drive defensively, he can certainly get a good result, but then again, if he's got the pace to put it on pole, he may be able to pull away, you never know. Absolutely, and it has to be said, Matt Curtis and Ben Bennywood, they're going to be starting first and second. Not really what we expect to see from them. They've been running a little bit lower than the order than that. This is obviously a big chance for them to grab a whole ton of points, Russell. Yeah, absolutely. So every heat's a good point score opportunity, so you've got to put the performance in to get the points. So who do you reckon is going to come out on top of this one, Russell? A quick shot at the winner. I reckon Slavek's shown great pace all weekend, so I think if he can make some positions quickly or get it right in strategy, I reckon he might be able to make some points up at the top. Okay then, so Russell's tip, Slavek Piskorz, the Polish former speedway rider, he is actually starting fourth, and leading them round is Matt Curtis. There you can see Matt Curtis, there's Piskorz in the yellow helmet in fourth, and we're going to get this race underway now. Curtis takes the start, we're going green. Ben Bennywood is in second place from Lee Henderson, and Slavek Piskorz with fifth is Paul Davis and Nick Robinson and the rest. A little bit of bumping and boring at the back there, cost themselves a bit of time. Well, we've got the winner of the race we've just seen, Piers Pryor. Piers, that was, well, it looked on paper quite a clear and easy victory. Did it seem that way from your point of view?
Obviously the start of the race went pretty well, but as the race went on, I realised that I didn't have quite the pace of the guys behind me, and after my pit stop, they were catching me so fast, so I was just trying to keep a lead, and it was so difficult. I was stressed out in that one. It might have looked a little easy, but it definitely wasn't in the helmet.
Absolutely, and of course Tyler Mays and Jordan Donegan, they were your main competition, second and third, but they came up right from the tail of the field. It was hard to see quite how they'd done it, but that's how it worked out.
Yeah, they drove a really good race, coming from the back as they did. Tyler had great pace in that one. You can see that it was 34.5, which is almost 3 tenths faster than my fastest lap. And he showed that he's not just got the pace, but also the racecraft, as he came through to be second and challenging me for the lead towards the end there.
Hitting the nail on the head really there, Piers, with the word racecraft. That's really, it was craft that got Tyler Mays into second and Jordan Donegan in third. Meantime in this race though, we've got Matt Curtis who's leading the way. He's got Ben Bennywood right there with him. Slavek Piskorz has moved up from fourth to third, and Piskorz is in pursuit of the leaders there. There's Curtis leading now on screen from Bennywood, and there's Piskorz in third. Piskorz, many people's tip for the win in this one. We haven't seen him win a British Friendly Kart Championship race yet, but certainly he's not lacking in capability. This is sooner or later he's going to win one. Lee Henderson is the one he's passed for that third place. Henderson, Piskorz, really many people's picks for this, but Curtis and Bennywood are soon going to have Piskorz amongst them. What do you reckon could happen here? Do you reckon the leaders can hold on?
It looks like there's a bit of a gap at the moment, but the pace of Piskorz might mean that he catches them towards the middle at the end of the race. And again, the pit stop might come into it, and if they get a bad pit stop at the front, or if Piskorz gets a particularly good one, then it puts it all very close towards the end. Absolutely,
this is certainly Piskorz's best chance of a win today, but also it's the best chance of Curtis's and Bennywood's chance of a win too. So all three of them really have got a lot of points to make up to get into the semi-final, but if ever they're going to do it, it's going to be now.
Oh, the competition at the moment is so high. I mean, there's just a few points in between getting into the semis and not getting into semis, and it could be really close, and they're all fighting for the placing semi because that's basically where everyone wants to be. So it looks like it's going to be a straight fight for the win here.
Absolutely, and those of you at home, you're listening there to Piers Pryor, who's a former junior world champion, and he's making his debut in the BRKC this weekend. We've got a pit stopper there, that's Lee Henderson. Now that could be quite interesting because Lee Henderson has taken himself away from the main group. We've seen a lot of people using early pit stops to get themselves out of a group they're not entirely happy with. So we'll see if Henderson's got the pace to leapfrog anyone as those pit stops cycle through. So down we come, that's Curtis with the lead. From Bennywood second, Biscourse third. Now that's a gap, and that's where Henderson was. So we've got a bit of a three-car breakaway, and we've got someone in the pits in second place. It's Ben Bennywood. Ben Bennywood going for the early pit stop. There he is in the 18 car. Ben Bennywood, oh, and coming in right behind him, Paul Davis. That's normally a bit of a strategic nightmare. See, Davis has to wait. Davis is tough. Davis is suffering for this one, and that is a real strategic error by Paul Davis there. It's cost him a lot of time. He's rejoined the track now. He's 10th and last, but he's had to wait while Bennywood serves his part of the pit stop. So effectively what Paul Davis had to do, he's had to, the second part of the pit stop there, he had to wait while Bennywood took his pit stop. Then when Bennywood moved forward, Davis had to edge forward and stop again. A real strategic nightmare by Davis. Yeah, a bit of a strategic nightmare by Davis, as you said, but it looks like Lee Henderson has made a masterstroke here. He's right on the tail of him now, and that early pit stop seems to be paying in his favour. Absolutely, as you point out there, Piers, Ben Bennywood is the one running ahead of Lee Henderson, and Lee Henderson wasn't this close when he came in the pits behind Bennywood. So as this cycles through, what that shows is that running on his own has helped Lee Henderson. There was Slavek Biscourse between Henderson and Bennywood earlier on, and now Henderson has shown that he's right on the tail of the guy who was second. So we'll see what happens. We've got another pit stopper. It's someone a bit further down the order. It's the 13. It's Xavier Andrew, who was running 50, pitted out of 5th place. So Xavier Andrew carries on his way, and it actually does drop him to 10th and last at the moment. But once again, we'll see where those pit stops cycling through. We've seen some great racing behind him. I think 3rd or 4th earlier on today. So Xavier Andrew not to be ignored. But Curtis still goes on the lead. Slavek Biscourse is taken second now. Biscourse in second place in the yellow helmet, just off camera at the moment. He's not really making inroads onto Curtis the leader. What do you think, Piers? They've got almost identical lap times, and they seem to be holding station. But the guys pitting ahead of Slavek seems to have given him a bit of space to drive into, so it could pay in his favour. He could end up coming out of the guys that pitted early. We'll just have to wait and see. Absolutely, and with loads of clear track in front of them, there's no real reason for either Curtis or Biscourse to be thinking about a pit stop at the moment. If they do make a pit stop now, all it risks is putting them in traffic, which of course, as we're seeing, is something to avoid, Piers. Curtis, though, is we never really see him at the front like this, and he's driving like a man possessed. A great job there by the race leader. Yeah, he seems to be driving very well in this race. I've seen a lot of the top guys and the favourites for the BRKC title pitting late, and I think they're popping now and trying to get the pits off as late as possible, so they end up getting out of the traffic. It could be what they're trying to do. We'll have to just wait and see. Absolutely, and Piers Pryor, the former junior world champion, he's hit the nail on the head. You see, with Curtis there, we've seen him on the camera view there. There's Slavek Biscourse in second, so if they come away, that's Curtis. There he is again on camera, just driving away from him. And Biscourse in second. Now, neither of these two drivers have anyone in front of them for some time, so there's really no reason for them to pit. The only reason they'd ever really want to pit is if they were finding that there was a group of back markers ahead, someone who's going to slow them down as they work their way around this course, and it's just not happening. But meantime, we've got a pitter. We've got number 10, that's Marcus Riddell, and Riddell is pitting out of 8th place. He's dropped down to 10th. So Riddell, now this is interesting because Matt Curtis and Slavek Biscourse, Riddell coming out of the pit lane there in 10th, that puts him only just ahead of those two leaders there. So they're going to have to figure out whether they're going to actually pass Riddell or whether they're going to use this as a time to pit. There's certainly no one really ahead of Riddell that they have to worry about, so it's not like they've got a gang of 4 up in front that they need to worry about. So they might just pass Marcus Riddell and take him back. There we go. Riddell moving out of the way down the back stretch there as the leader takes Whoa, and Slavik Piskor's Friedel trying to stay out of the way. But there's, well, the man's got to be somewhere, as I said before. And into the pits comes the leader. That's Matt Curtis taking the pit stop. There he is. That was the race leader. And not a bad pit stop at all. Surely he can come out. And, although he won't be in the lead when he comes out, they may cycle through into the lead. He's actually dropped to third. He's got Slavik Piskor's in the lead now, and Nick Robinson ahead, neither of which have pitted yet. So Matt Curtis there, he didn't really need to come in, Piers, stopping fairly early on. Do you think that might be a bit of a not such a good move by him?
He seems to have come out in reasonable amount of space. There's a back marker ahead of him which he may catch, which could end up being costly. But I think I know the back marker's just pitted now. He's pitted it, so he's come out in space, which is good. But I think he just saw a gap in this wrapping where he would come out and thought he might as well take it.
Absolutely. We've seen a stop there by Nick Robinson, and Nick Robinson has taken his pit stops, and that actually drops him down the order to 7th. Matt Curtis, who we saw pitting earlier on, Matt Curtis is now back up to 2nd, and he has pitted, so this is always going to be either a 1st or 2nd place for Curtis. As we see on the backstretch now, Curtis coming down the backstretch. There he is. Chris Pease is the one following him, and Chris Pease has got Westhoff, the Dutchman, and Bennyworth coming with him. And so Pease is going to be trying to gain some time, and into the pits comes Michael Westhoff. Michael Westhoff, the Dutchman, also known as Dutch. He takes his pit stop. There he is in the 19th. Come over from Holland for this one, Westhoff. And Westhoff caught in a bit of a strategic nightmare yesterday, as he had to make a pit stop for a new kart, would you believe, so that scuppered his chance. Piskor's, though, continues to lead, and he assumes that lead having not pitted, so we'll see what happens when he comes out of the pits. Now, it does look like he's got a fairly healthy lead over Matt Curtis. Piskor's is going to want to come in and out of the pits with the lead, and I think at the moment he's right on the cusp of being able to do that. He's got 10 seconds. Certainly it seems, Piers Pry, that 10 seconds seems to get you, it means you're going to come out with somebody. Really, an 11, maybe 12-second lead is what you need to guarantee coming out in front of the next car, right?
Yeah, he's driving very quickly at the moment, doing very consistently quick lap times, and I think he's trying to stay out just as late as possible, so they can get track position coming out of the pits. Because if they come out together, if you come out of the pits, you're on the inside of the first corner, so maybe he's using that to his advantage.
Absolutely right there, Piers, and we have to say, looking at the times, well, Piskor's has got about a 10-second lead over Curtis, who's 2nd, but he's got a 14-second lead over Ben Bennywood, a 15-second lead over Ben Bennywood, as we see Chris Pease take the pits, and Chris Pease pits out to third place, so Pease is going to drop down the order. He's gone to 9th as a result of that pit stop, but certainly Piskor's has got a 15-second lead over Ben Bennyworth in 3rd place, so there's no question Piskor's is looking for a 1st and 2nd place here. It's all a question of where Matthew Curtis ends up. Curtis crossing the line now to complete another lap. And where's Piskor's? Piskor's is just running up ahead of him. We're looking at the turn at the end of the back straight. That's Chris Pease, who we saw pitting out 3rd now. And so onto that snail section. That's taking the right-hander there. That was Matt Curtis, and Piskor's continues for another lap. Curtis there on the back stretch. He's just coming out of view of the camera there. Certainly, we're just really waiting to see when Piskor's pits, and that will figure out what's going to happen in this race. Lee Henderson is worth talking about. Lee Henderson is running 4th. We saw him up there making a very early pit stop, Lee Henderson, and I think that early pit stop has sort of cemented his 4th place position. Do you reckon, Piers?
Yeah, it looks like he's used it to his advantage, to secure his position. I think Slavik is, Piskor's is driving very consistent laps now, and it looks like he might be very close to coming out in 1st position. He's leaving it very late, and there's no reason why he should pit now, so he's got lots of space in front of him. It looks like he'll be very close to the lead when he comes in.
Absolutely, Piers. Well, we've got 20 laps in the books now, and we're probably looking at about another 12 laps remaining at the sort of pace they're carrying. Bear in mind the race is done to time, not distance, so Piskor's has probably got about another 12 laps to do. Now, he's got just 10 seconds over Matt Curtis, so really Piskor's, with clear air in front of him, would be well served to just stay out ahead, stay out in front, and just keep extending that lead and come out of the pit lane ahead of Matt Curtis. This could be a great moment for Piskor's. It's going to be, if he can do it, if he can pull this off, it will be his first win at a British Championship level, And I think the same goes to Matt Curtis. I can't remember him winning a race, so one of his first and second is going to be on for a debut win, and certainly even if they don't win, they're going to be second, because Ben Bennyworth is about 16 seconds off the lead now. So it's always going to be now into the pits. Then we've got a pit stopper. That's the 13, Xavier Andrew. I'm sure we saw Xavier Andrew pit earlier on. I'm obviously wrong, but I'm sure we saw him pit earlier. But hey, into the pits, and out he goes. Right, so that second pit stop there for Xavier Andrew, we think is a penalty. The race controller just confirmed that one. So Xavier Andrew, he ended up getting a penalty there, and that's bundled him down to ninth place. There's only Marcus Riddell behind him, who's in 10th. Now, Slavik Biscours continues on. No, he does not pit, and he will check what sort of distance he's got. What's the gap with Biscours? There's Biscours on the camera there in the yellow helmet. Now, he's crossed the line, and we're going to see how far back Matt Curtis is when he crosses the line. Here comes Matt Curtis into view now in the orange helmet. There's Matt Curtis, and he's only 10 seconds away from Biscours. So if Biscours was to pit on this lap, well, Curtis, he would literally come out side by side with Matt Curtis. So if Biscours was to pit this lap, he would come out side by side with Curtis. And so there's Biscours. Will he pit? No, he won't. He's trying desperately to build up an even bigger lead. It is only 10 seconds. So Biscours crosses the line. We'll see what the gap is, whether it's extending, whether it's not. Now, Curtis is not really losing a lot of time to Biscours. What's the gap going to be? The gap is... oh, it's still only 10 seconds. Here's Biscours. It has to be said that Slavik Biscours, he really needs to creep up an extra second or so to be certain of coming out of the lead, do you think?
I think to be certain coming in the lead, as you said, you need about 12 seconds, and it's right on the cusp of them coming out together. They're lacking almost identical times. They're just looking in the low 35s. I don't think it's going to make much difference. And Biscours is in now.
Biscours, the race leader, comes into the pits now. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. So Biscours takes the second part of the pit stop. And here comes Matt Curtis. Biscours is going to come out of the pits. They're going to be side by side. Curtis has momentum, and Curtis takes the lead. Oh, and look at that on screen there. Curtis in the orange and black helmet has taken the lead from Slavik Biscours. So Matt Curtis steams around past Biscours, and Biscours is going to have to pass him on the track now. He did not quite build up enough of a lead to be able to come out in the lead. In fact, Biscours ever so close to being able to do that. If only he was a fraction further up, he would have been able to block Curtis, but that's not how it's worked out. Biscours just lacking that maybe 1 second first.
Yeah, the 11 seconds seems like an amount of time it takes to the pit stop, and he was only at 10. It was so close coming out of the pits there, side by side of the start finish line. It looks like Curtis is taking the lead, and with only 4 minutes to go, I can't see it changing.
And for the benefit of those viewers at home, it has to be said, it's going to be very difficult for the drivers on the track to realise this kind of relative gap, yes?
Yeah, the gap is quite hard to get judged, because obviously there's loads of beams in the way. You're trying to look for a space and you come out in, and it's quite hard to judge. I mean, Biscours obviously just thought he saw a gap and went for it. Nearly got paid off, but as they're getting ever closer now, it looks like it could be a last lap lunge possibly.
And we've seen a few of those today, haven't we? Oh yes. So Slavik Biscours continues in his pursuit there. Matt Curtis just going off the camera. There they go. The black and orange helmet of Matt Curtis versus the yellow helmet of Slavik Biscours. Both of them, I believe, are looking for their debut win in the BRKC. As round the snail they go. There's only a handful of laps remaining. 4, 5, 6 laps maybe, depending on the time. Here they come down the backstretch. Into the turn there at the end of the backstretch. That's the race leader. That's the second place. And it is Matt Curtis leading Slavik Biscours into the stadium area. There they go. And Slavik Biscours is going to have to close in and do a bit of a desperate lunge if he's going to make the move for the lead. I think he's certainly got it in him to do it. It's just a question of whether he's got enough time, Piers. I mean, Slavik Biscours, can you see this happening, or do you think Curtis has got one in the bag?
Yeah, Slavik has closed up on Curtis. They're getting closer and closer. Only 3.5 minutes left. I'm not really sure. He's obviously going to have a go for the lead, but I'm not sure whether it'll pay off or not.
Absolutely, it's going to be a very close race, but it could well be that these are the positions. Now, they're coming towards a back marker. It's Marcus Riddell. He's running in 10th place. And Marcus Riddell, the question is, will they catch him before the flag comes out? Because when you look at the times, they're running about a second faster than Riddell. So Riddell surely is going to be a factor in this. They're up in the top part of the course now. So Marcus Riddell also in a black and yellow helmet. Not to be confused with Slavik Biscours. In fact, Riddell gets right out of the way, and lets the leaders through, so not a problem there for Riddell. Down the back stretch they go. There is the leader, Curtis. Slavik Piskor's second. There's Riddell, the back marker. They just put a lap down. And Piskor's much closer than ever before. Here he is. He's all over the back of the race leader, Matt Curtis, going across the line, putting another lap. Round they go, and it's still Slavik Piskor's working on the back of Riddell, the leader. Some good little camera angles we're getting through now as Slavik Piskor's now leaving as late as possible. Piskor's to the inside, they make contact, and oh well, it's lost Slavik Piskor's too much time. Here they come down the back stretch. This is the gap now. This is the biggest gap we've seen between these two. Curtis, that may well have decided the race. Piskor's, he had to try something, but it didn't quite come off. It was a bit of a desperate lunge. It didn't quite work for him. Surely Piskor's running out of time, but we'll see if he can close in on the leader, Curtis. It all depends on how rattled Curtis has got in that lunge, do you think?
I think it might have relieved the pressure of Curtis a little bit there. As you can see, a gap has opened up. That's exactly what Curtis wanted. So even though Piskor's is going for the lead, it looks like it's in Curtis' favour now.
That's right. If Curtis takes a little look over his shoulder, see that Piskor's is further away than he's been for some time, and that will give Curtis a bit of breathing space, but it's not much, because Slavik Piskor's is well capable of closing that gap if there's the slightest hint of an error by the race leader, Matt Curtis. So Matt Curtis continues on for another lap. Surely not very long to go now, as the leaders are in the very, very closing stages of this race. And it's all about whether Matt Curtis can hang on to that lead from Slavik Piskor's. He's got the biggest lead he's had so far, but it is only a fractional lead. There's only about 2 or 3 carts length in it. So onto the back straight then, we've got the leader, Curtis, there he is, and Piskor's second, trying to chase him down in the final laps of this race, this heat race. Both of these drivers, definitely their best result of the weekend, and a huge bag of points for both of them to bump them up the order. Slavik Piskor's hits the wall. Now Piskor's hit the wall coming into the final bit before the finish line, just by the pits, and that's lost him even more time. Look at that gap opening out. Appears that surely decided the race now. Piskor's slamming the wall there coming off the final handle.
I thought actually Piskor's was catching for a while there, and I thought it could come down to the wire, but that mistake has lost Piskor's half a second, and I don't think he's going to call that back now. But it's probably the last lap, maybe one more.
Absolutely, the checker flag is being readied, and they're going to be bringing it out for Matt Curtis. Matt Curtis is going to take the win. Here they are, it's Matt Curtis with the black and orange helmet. Here comes Matt Curtis in view. He's the winner. Oh, you can see how happy he is. What a great win there by Matt Curtis. Slavik Piskor's a brave second, but there's no denying Curtis. Third's going to be Lee Henderson. Lee Henderson, who made that early pit stop. It's worked for him. He's got ahead of Ben Bennywood, who's coming in fourth, and Nick Robinson is in fifth, and Paul Davis is going to be sixth, surely. Seventh is going to be Michael Westhoff. Yes, he is just following Paul Davis across the line there. And Xavier Andrew, who we've seen pick up a penalty there, he's going to cross the line. There's Andrew coming under the flag now. And Chris Pease follows him through, and so on and so forth. But what a result there by Matt Curtis. He had a lot of pressure to withstand. He really made a good job of winning that race. Pears, I think.
He drove a really good race. He soaked up all the pressure that Slavik was giving him. And credit to him, it was a good race. And both of them, it was a clean fight most of the way. And I think they deserve to come 1 and 2, and hopefully they get through to the semis.
Absolutely. There's Matt Curtis there, the 15th. He's the race winner, and I believe that's his first race win at this kind of level. He's certainly going to be one very excited boy. Slavik Piskor's behind him. He gave it his best shot. There's Slavik with the GoPro on the top of his helmet there in the number 9. Certainly Slavik Piskor's gave it a great shot, but there was no denying Matt Curtis. Matt Curtis, a superb victory there over Slavik Piskor's, and really Piskor's made him work for it too, so Curtis very, very happy with that one for sure. A great result there by Matt Curtis. Okay, looking up ahead to the next heat race, well, we've got quite a tough one coming up now. We've got Crispin Zerka, who those viewing online were hearing from earlier on. We've got Sander de Betz. Sander de Betz we've seen do very well. Joe Mack, Robin Kassam, Jack Bolton, Peter Lepan, Chris Needers, Sam Spinell. Sam Spinell's going to be looking to take a win in this. Alex Van Gien, perennial British Rental Car Championship competitor. He's going to be one of the first out to qualify. And Joshua Morris. Now, the 20 there, we can see that's Crispin Zerka. He's just getting aboard his cart. He's got to be one of the potentials for victory. Piers, who do you think might come out on top of this one?
I think Crispin looks like he's one of the favourites for this race. He's in a good cart, it looks like it. And he's obviously been driving very well this weekend. He could come on for a good result. But also, as you see, Sam Spinell, he's had a good result of it so far, and he could be challenging for the lead as well.
Sam Spinell, he's an interesting driver to consider because, as those looking on the screen, he's the final kart there, I believe. Is that him down there in the 14? Spinell, yeah. Spinell in the 14, right at the back. He's going to be last out to qualify. Somehow it never works out for him. He's got the speed, he's got the thinking, but somehow there's just always something that occurs during the race that affects him. Maybe it's a bit of a duff pit stop, maybe it's a problem with the back marker, maybe it's a straight up collision with somebody else. He's picked up penalties before, there's been all kinds of things. Just something stops him from getting the result. Can he come through in this one, do you think, Piers?
I think he can. If he puts what's happened to him previously behind him and then drives a really good race, starting with qualifying well, then there's no reason why he can't take this and win the race.
Absolutely. So, frankly, if nothing goes wrong, this could well be Sam Spinell's race. We think there may only be 9 karts going out in this one. There's no sign of Joe Mack down there. So this could well be a 9-kart race as opposed to the regular 10-kart race. So we'll see what happens. Alex Van Gien certainly is going to lead the way out. There he is in the 15-kart on screen now. And then the rest of them behind him. But certainly... We've got quite an interesting field in this one. Crispin Zerka, he does need a lot of points, as many as he can get. So Alex Van Gien leads them out onto the track now. We're running down the order there. An 8-kart there, he's got a good chance in the 19 there. That's Sander Debates in the 19. Crispin Zerka, so Debates and Zerka and Spinell, the final 3. They're the ones possibly with the most likelihood of win, but Alex Van Gien has to be considered as being in the mix there. So Van Gien is the first out to qualify, so we'll see what sort of time he sets. Certainly there's no doubt that he's going to be running in clean air throughout. We have sometimes seen situations where drivers have caught others on the qualifying laps, but it's not going to happen for Alex Van Gien. He's going to have a nice clear shot at pole. So Alex Van Gien starts his qualifying lap. So does Robin Kassam. Robin Kassam is the one coming out behind him. And Josh Morris, of course, we saw him earlier on. And Pete Lepan. Pete Lepan has been definitely a star of the midfield and sometimes poking up towards the front. Now we've got the real heavy hitters in this race. Sander Debates, Crispin Zerka and Sam Spinell are starting their qualifying laps. Van Gien is coming through to finish his. So we'll see what kind of benchmark Van Gien sets. On the screen there we can see Van Gien's taking the flag there. So Alex Van Gien takes the flag. And also taking the flag, that's Robin Kassam. Now, pretty good pace in those, but Josh Morris is fastest so far. And Pete Lepan is fastest, so as they come through, it's going faster and faster. Happy days. So, Matt Curtis, fantastic win. That's your first win at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, first win at this level, yeah. It's been a long time coming.
Superb. And what a way to win there. Slavik Piscourse gave you a real run for your money. How was it out there?
It was really tight. I mean, coming up close to when I pitted, I thought I'd get back out in traffic. Luckily I didn't. Made it round. I thought, when's he going to pit? When's he going to pit? He's got to pit soon. I didn't realise he'd pitted, so I just put my foot down and there he was coming out of the exit.
Absolutely, Matt. It was you pitted sort of about in the first third of the race, and Slavik Piscourse pitted right near the end, and that set up a real tight race for the finish there. Slavik, he made took a few shots at you, but quite a fair piece of driving by Slavik Piscourse.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. It was a bit nip and tuck, but he made it in the end.
Yeah. And what was particularly fortunate from your point of view, that was the one race that we've seen so far where back markers have played the least part for the winning. You certainly didn't have any big gaggle of back markers to fight through. Certainly nothing that affected your strategy.
Yeah, that's right. The back marker that was in the way was very courteous, got out of the way straight away. No issues at all, really.
Superb. So you're hearing from your previous race winner there, Matt Curtis. Now, Matt, we've got Sander Debates on pole from Sam Spinell. Surely these are the ones to watch. Pete Lepan there in third, but Sander Debates and Sam Spinell. Now, Sam Spinell's a very interesting driver because really we've seen at world level and at, in this case, in British level, Sam Spinell, joint Belgian and British nationality, but if it's going to be some bad luck, if it's going to go wrong, it tends to go wrong for Sam Spinell. He's got the strategy, he's got the speed, but just somehow it never adds up for him. What do you think?
Yeah, Sam's an amazing driver. It's always a bit of misfortune for him, really, so hopefully for this race he'll get past Sander and everything will work out alright for him for a change.
Absolutely, but Sander Debates, a formidable competitor. We've seen him earlier on in the other heat races. He's leading at the moment from Sam Spinell. The other drivers we're talking about. Pete Lepan is running third at the moment. Josh Morris and Crispin Zerka. Crispin Zerka, former local favourite round here. Crispin Zerka has been the champion at this track in its own track championship. This is, of course, Formula Fast here in Milton Keynes. And Crispin Zerka, a star here before, and he's down in 5th place. So we'll see if he can use his experience to get to the front there. But meantime, it's Sander Debates. Now, you can see on screen, they're coming up to the start line. There's Debates, there's Spinell. They've got a little bit of a gap now over Pete Lepan in 3rd. And they're going to be trying to take advantage of that. So it is Sander Debates from Sam Spinell, and Sander Debates continues to lead from Spinell. Spinell, one of the unluckiest drivers we've seen. Chris Negus takes to the pits now. So Chris Negus has just rejoined now. He's running in 9th. As I said, there are only 9 cars in this one. There's Debates at the front with Spinell. You can see that lead building up a bit with the first 2 pulling away slightly ahead of the 3rd. So round we go. It's Sander Debates from Sam Spinell. They're leading the way and trying to make a bit of a break of it. Josh Morris we saw starring earlier on. He's the one working on the back of Pete Lepan, trying to take that 3rd place where you can see in the distance Josh Morris in the red suit. So the 2 leaders coming through the snail now, and there's the Lepan-Morris battle behind. Onto the back stretch they go, and it is Sander Debates. Here's Sander Debates now with Sam Spinell behind him, and then Lepan and Morris behind them too. So Sander Debates continues to lead there, but he's really been made to work for this by Sam Spinell. Sam Spinell putting up a great show there in 2nd place. Like I was saying, he's got the speed, he's got the strategy, just never seems to have the luck. So Sam Spinell, can he turn this one around? But will it be Sander Debates who takes the win? Sander very fast earlier on. We've seen him tackle some serious competition there. One of the visiting foreign drivers, Sander Debates, coming down the back stretch now. There's Debates, they're the 2 race leaders. And Spinell having a look to the inside. Spinell showing very much the Belgian and European style. They're leaning out to try and lift that inside wheel to prevent the car understeering. So we've got Lee Henderson in the commentary box now. Lee, a great result for you in that last race. How was it?
We know how to work so hard for a 3rd place in my life, so yeah, it's been hard work.
Superb. Okay then. So Lee, we've got Sander Debates leading from Sam Spinell. Who's your tip in this one?
I'm hoping Sam Spinell's actually going to get a good result. He seems to have a lucky couple of years in BRKC, so it'd be nice to see him actually get a heat win and get a bit of positivity for him.
Absolutely, Sam Spinell managing to stay cheerful despite his misfortunes. As I say, it all is a question of luck, but we have someone in the pits, and in the pits it is the 9 car. That of course is Robin Kassam. He has pitted. We've also had the 12, which is Josh Morris, who pitted out of 4th place while talking to Lee Henderson there. Jake Campbell-Mills has also appeared in the commentary. Jake, you've won a couple of races so far this competition, so you're looking pretty good. Now, Sam Spinell, we always associate Sam Spinell with a lot of bad luck. He's all over the back of Sander Debates for the lead there. You can see them on the camera. How do you feel about Spinell's chance of taking the win?
I believe that Sam, at the moment, is getting held back big time. The lead has defended a lot. And the problem is he can't pit now because he'll end up in traffic. So unless the leaders can pull away from 3rd place and build a gap, that's when Sam should really pit. And if he can pit and get some clean air, he'll pull away. Definitely.
Absolutely. So, yes, please. So Spinell, he does need a bit of luck on his side. Now, it's going to be too early for him to pit. As Jake Campbell-Mills just said, if he pits now, he's going to come out amongst some traffic. That'll just simply hold him up. It's not worth doing. However, they are starting to catch a back marker, Chris Negus. So if luck goes Spinell's way, and I struggle to say that, if luck goes Spinell's way, if Sander Debates can get a bit held up, this could be Sam Spinell's chance. They're coming down off the final turn there. They've got through past the back marker, Chris Negus. Chris Negus moving out of the way there. Sander Debates continues in the lead with Sam Spinell. It's too early for them to pit, but Spinell is slightly faster. Spinell is recording the faster times than Sander Debates. He's ever slightly quicker. We've got another driver in the pits. It's Alex Van Gien. Alex Van Gien pits out of 5th place, and Van Gien takes. It's a bit slow coming away from the second of the stopping boxes there. So Alex Van Gien carries on his way. He's in 7th place. he's had a real rip-roaring competition so far as Alex Van Dien. Sucked up the third places, don't you think, Jake?
Yeah, I'm not actually, unfortunately, I'm not actually seeing a lot of Alex this weekend. Been too busy sleeping or something. But yeah, the three third places, yeah? Three third places,
yeah, that's right.
Three third places is brilliant for Alex. It looks like I think he's struggling a little bit with the carts. The cart is up, but yeah, he's definitely done well this weekend, definitely.
Okay, and while Jake was talking, we've had a couple of very interesting things. Crispin Zerka, first of all, has come into the pits. Crispin Zerka, one of the local favourites, but more importantly from a race point of view, Sam Spinell has had some kind of problem, and Spinell has dropped back well away from Sander de Bates. Spinell is now still in second place, but he's dropped some way back, and there is Pete Lepan in third place. He's actually closer to second place, and the second place is to the leader. And so we've still got Sander de Bates leading the way with Spinell second, but it's a huge gap now comparatively to what it was before. And Spinell, and maybe some bad luck striking again as he continues to circulate. Surely he can close in though, because he is the faster of the pair, ever so slightly. So that's what he's got going on his side. Sander de Bates is setting a scorching pace, but Spinell just that little bit hotter in terms of pace, and that's what it's going to need to try and get in terms with Sander de Bates and wrest that lead from him. Certainly Spinell's looking good for a second place. Pete Lepan's doing his level best. He's actually staying with the two leaders, very good on lap times, but just a little bit off their pace. Meantime though, it's still Sander de Bates who leads there. As we look on screen, that's the backstretch. We're going to see him come down there. There's de Bates, the leader, and you can see now the gap to Spinell on the screen. And there's Lepan in third, so Pete Lepan showing well against the two leaders there on screen for a moment, as Sander de Bates continues on his way. None of the three leaders are pitted yet, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it anytime soon. They're going to want to make sure they're in the cleanest air possible. Everyone's got their own way of figuring out where the heck they are in terms of track position and where they come out of pits. As I said, you need at least 10 seconds to make that stop and maintain your position over the driver behind. So how do you think about this shaping up, Jake? Spinell losing a bit of time there to Sander de Bates.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of time. I don't know what's happened. I think de Bates has obviously found a bit of extra time. I think it's to do with he's not defending anymore. Yeah, looking good.
Absolutely right there. We're still showing Sam Spinell as having the fastest lap of the race so far. But it's very close. It's only like 200ths of a second between him and the leader, Sander de Bates. So nothing in it at all. They are actually starting to draw a little bit away from third place Pete Lepan. We can see on screen as here comes Sander de Bates around into the stadium area, and there's the second place Spinell, and then third place Lepan is actually further back than he has been for a while. So the two leaders are starting to pull away. They're maintaining their gap, but certainly Lepan trying desperately to save them. Jack Bolton's the one in fourth and Josh Morris is fifth. That means Crispin Zerka is sixth. Crispin was hoping for so much more out of this competition. He's now coming under the attention of Alex Van Dien, who's actually, it looks like Van Dien is having his worst performance so far of the competition. He's running in seventh. We've seen him up in third, so he's obviously not going to be a factor in this race. But Sander de Bates has Sam Spinell trying to chase him down, and really we're just waiting for the pit stops to happen and see how that fixes things. Jake, I can actually see this being the result. Can you?
Say that again, sorry.
The way the positions are now, I can honestly see this as being the result.
Yes, definitely. I think Crispin's going to be put under a lot of pressure by Alex. But apart from that, I think the leader.
That's right. So the action more down the tail end of the field.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a lot more action going down. I think the race between Crispin and Van Dien should be really good.
Superb. Okay, so they're on screen. De Bates goes out of view. There's Spinell just going out of view across the line. So they're the first and seconds. Spinell trying to chase him down, but they are pretty much cancelling each other out. Very, very close on lap times. Nothing to choose on really. And the third place driver, Pete Lepan, he's dropping back a little bit. So it's going to come down the pit stop. Certainly, even if Sander de Bates has some problem in the pits, it's unlikely that Spinell is going to be able to catch him. It's going to have to be a pretty big problem in the pits if the leader is to be caught. Close though it is, it's going to take Spinell actually closing in purely on lap times. There's no back marker that de Bates is going to be catching, so Spinell finding himself a little bit cancelled out. He's the things that could help him, such as back markers, people fighting, he hasn't got that for Debates. Debates has miles to go before he actually catches the first back marker. Everyone reasonably similar pace out there. So Debates continues. There he is in the lead on the screen now. There's Debates and there's Spinell. Spinell's doing his absolute best, and they're both running absolutely storming lap times. Very fast, this pair, but they are matching each other perfectly. Pete Lepan doing his best to stay. Pete Lepan comes in the pits. The third place driver takes the pits there. That's the number 18 of Pete Lepan into the pit lane now. And Lepan moves to the second part of the pit lane. There he is, stopping in the box. And away he goes. Now, Pete Lepan's going to lose a couple of positions as a result of that. He's certainly lost to Jack Bolton, and that's about it. Because there's Josh Morris, and Josh Morris comfortably behind Lepan. So Lepan just loses one place there to Jack Bolton as a result of the pit stop. Really, we want to see what happens with these leaders now. It's all going to be whether Debates pits and Spinell. I think Spinell's into pits. Sam Spinell, second place, takes the pit stop. His first pit stop is good. He's in the pits as we speak. Second place driver, Sam Spinell, is in the pit lane. He's moving to this final box. It's not really been the greatest of pit stops for Spinell. I suppose it's not bad, but it's not the sort of stop that's going to gain him any advantage. The 8 car, Jack Bolton, that comes at the pits, and Lepan assumes his third place again. And more importantly, from Bolton's point of view, he's actually lost loads of places. He's rejoined in 7th. So Zerka, Van Geen and Morris have all leapfrogged him, and that bundles him down the order. We've got a pit stop visitor, 19 Debates. Debates is in the pits out for the lead. So what will happen with Sam Spinell? Debates is on the second part of the pit stop. Here comes Sam Spinell, and surely it's not enough. In fact, Debates has made up time under the pits. An incredible turnaround performance there. Debates, we were thinking, might actually lose to Sam Spinell, but not a chance of it. Debates has actually made an even bigger lead now over Sam Spinell, so I think that's the result set in stone there. It's going to be Debates from Sam Spinell. I think Sam's pit stop just wasn't as good as Sander Debates, right?
Definitely not. I think it's unfortunate for Sam. I think Sam was catching Debates a little bit before the pit stop. I'm a bit confused to why Sam pitted, if I'm honest, because I think he could have called him up.
Yeah, it's interesting that way, because obviously pit stops are obviously, you're seeing people trying to use them to avoid catching back markers, losing time, things like this. But there's absolutely nobody in front of Debates. He's had no problem with any back markers all race long. Spinell's chance really would involve another kart with Debates, and they're on lap 22. They've got about 10 laps to go, and I just can't see that they're going to catch Chris Negis in that time. Chris Negis is actually some way off their pace. He's almost 2 seconds down on them, but he's so far ahead that it's possible that they're not going to catch him, because Chris Negis is on the far side of the course, and Sander Debates is sort of in the middle somewhere. So it's unlikely to happen, really. I think Sander Debates has got this one in the bag.
Definitely. I think he's going to have plain sailing for now. I don't think Sam will have enough time to catch him, really. I mean, when I say he was catching him, I think it was little bit, but yeah, I think it's set in stone now, like you said. I think that's the results for now.
That's it, and Sander Debates setting a scorching base up at the front, and Sam Spinell is really just trying to do his level best to stay with him, and the times are so tight. They're both lapping at record pace at the moment as far as they're concerned, and they've got about an 8-second lead over Lepan, who's third. So Lepan not able to close it on. He's running at a slower pace than them, about 0.3 seconds per lap down on those guys up ahead of him. So really Pete Lepan's looking at his third place as being the best he can pull out of this, which against Sam Spinell and Sander Debates is no mean feat. But the two leaders just cancelling each other out, matching each other for lap times. Sander Debates sets a lap time, and Sam Spinell matches it. That's really what's going on there. There's nothing to choose, so they are set in stone, I'd say, first and second. Sander Debates just really clicking off those laps. Although he's comfortable in the lead there, he's looking pretty good, smooth, unhurried, and not rushed whatsoever. He certainly will be wanting that checkered flag to come out sooner rather than later. There is the leader there, Sander Debates, coming around the turn at the end of the track. That's Sam Spinell. They're coming into the stadium area. That's still Debates in the lead, and it's been this sort of distance for a long time now, Jake. Really, Spinell is going to be looking at second place now, so that's it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think there's much he can do now. He's had 3 second places and a 5th place, I think, or 4th. So he will be in the semis. Yeah, I don't think there's not a lot of panic for him now.
And from Sam Spinell's point of view, finally he has avoided some bad luck, as he said. I think he'll take second place. Yeah, it is. Finally, Sam Spinell avoids some bad luck. I'm sure second place will be a position he takes, especially given the performance that Sander Debates is putting on out there. It's a real good show by the young man in the leads. Sander Debates, you can see on screen they're going away from us now towards the far end of the course. And Sander Debates got this on the back. Now, interestingly, they are starting to close in on Chris Negus. Chris Negus is about 2 seconds a lap down on them. And so Chris Negus could become a factor. There's probably going to be about 5 laps remaining or so. So Chris Negus there in the blue helmet in the stadium area. There he is, there's Chris Negus. So Chris Negus is going out of view, and there's Sander Debates. So they are closing in on Chris Negus. Now, this is what Sam Spinell needs. Now, Sam Spinell is going to be hoping that Chris Negus proves difficult for Sander Debates to pass. What we have seen from Chris Negus, he's one of the most decent drivers out there. He's already trying to get out of the way of the leader, and absolutely no problem for Sander Debates. Negus realises the situation there. And one of the most gentlemanly of the competitors, Chris Negus, and you can bet your life he won't be giving Sam Spinell any trouble. Sander Debates has got past Negus to put him a lap down. Negus very aware of what's going on. He's in the 10 cart, so there's Debates, there's Negus, and there is Spinell crossing the line. So Spinell will be a little bit disappointed, I'm sure, that Sander Debates didn't have any kind of trouble with Negus, and Spinell passes him for position. Well, not for position, but to put him a lap down. Now has clear space between him and Sander Debates. Onto the backstretch then. Here comes Sander Debates, your race leader. There he goes, in the turn there at the end of the straight. There's Spinell, and there's Negus. Negus running in 9th now. Sander Debates cracks off another lap. They're just working through these laps now. Just a handful of laps to go. They're on lap 30, probably expecting about a 32 lap race here, 33 maybe. Battle is hotting up though, with Josh Morris in 4th place, now under full attention from Crispin Zerka and Alex Van Gien. So it's going to be a bit of a 3-way fight over 4th. They're moving out towards the far end of the circuit. The leaders are coming down the back straight. There's the leader, there's 2nd place, and then 3rd place behind. But in the distance there's in the snail section, that's the battle I've been on about. The battle for 4th. Onto the back stretch comes the battle for 4th, and there's contact there. Crispin Zerka makes contact with the 4th place Josh Morris as they battle it away. They're on the far end of the circuit, and Josh Morris has been bundled out of the way. Alex Van Gien's having a look. They're in the stadium section. Here's the battle on the screen now. So Crispin Zerka has taken the position away from Josh Morris, and Alex Van Gien's wanting a piece of that action. It's getting very tight and intense down there. That is the battle for 4th. Crispin Zerka has now put himself up into 4th. Had a bit of a struggle this time. I'm up here with Lewis Manley, who obviously knows Crispin quite well from battling here. It's been a bit of a disappointing tournament for Crispin Zerka, although he is running 4th now, yeah?
Yeah, his track 2's not gone well for him after yesterday. He really struggled with the new corners, but track 1 has obviously gone pretty decent for him, but he's really finding this tougher than last year for sure.
Absolutely, Crispin Zerka, he's not showing the form he showed last year whatsoever. Needless to say, he will be happy with his 4th place. Pete Lepan is sufficiently far ahead that he's not going to catch him. But certainly he's come out on top at the moment of this battle he's in with Josh Morris and Alex Van Gien. Crispin Zerka, he's trying to pull away from Morris now to really secure that 4th place. Crispin Zerka there. The leaders have completed 33 laps. We're going to be on for the last lap any second. They're getting the checker flag ready for Sander Debates. Onto the back straight comes Sander Debates. Here he is. That's Sander Debates, just half a lap from victory now. With Sam Spinell, it was a brave effort by Sam Spinell, but he's going to be in 2nd place. Sander Debates into the stadium section. Here comes Sander Debates. He's going to be taking the flag. There's the checker, and there's Sander. Sander Debates wins the race from Sam Spinell. It's going to be Lepan 3rd, surely. Got to wait for a little while for Lepan to come through. And there's Lepan with the back marker, Chris Negus. Chris Negus comes in, he's in 9th place there, but here it is, Crispin Zerka, Alex Van Gien, a last-ditch effort. So there's Zerka across the line, there's Morris across the line, and Van Gien, and Jack Bolton is 7th place, Robin Kassam, and then Chris Negus rounding out the finishers there. So a fairly comfortable victory for Sander Debates, although he couldn't let up for a second. He and Sam Spinell were really trading times. It's out of that race, it's just nice to see that Sam Spinell avoids bad luck. What do you think, Lewis?
Yeah, really keeping the leader honest towards the beginning of the race, and then started to drop back a little bit, and then two great pit stops when they came in their boxes, and then there was about a 2-second gap, then just keeping like that for a bit, and then Sam started to slightly close in, but we knew Sandra had a comfortable gap, and then towards the end he had a pretty straightforward victory.
I think you're right there, Lewis. That's the way it was, and it has to be said. The Pete Lepan, a good third place for him. He'll be pleased with that one. A whole ton of championship points for him. Crispin Zerka will be relatively pleased with his fourth place. Not really what he would have been pleased with last year, but certainly this year that's a nice result for him. As we can see everyone getting out the carts down there in the pit lane on the screen. Josh Morris, he was in that battle. He'll be happy coming out ahead of Alex Van Gien, I'm sure. And Alex Van Gien was 6th, Jack Bolton 7th, Robin Kassam 8th, and Chris Nidris rounding out the finishers there in 9th place. The next heat race is going to be an interesting one. We've got Will Buxton, who's the regular GP3 and GP2 commentator, so I guess Will and I swapping jobs a bit today, so I'm doing the talking. Hope Will thinks it's reasonable. But Will Buxton will be out in this next race. Christian Jennings is in there. Andrew Duff we saw normally running mid-pack, but an incredible second place yesterday. He had quite a long battle with Matthias Gruten, who is a 4-time winner this weekend, and so a good run there by Andrew Duff to come in second. Ruben Boutens is going to be back out. He's the reigning champion. So is Lee Jones, Paul Hedger, Nathan Bull, Brett Gaskin, Dan Truman and Liam Briley. Really, Lewis Manley, it's got to be Ruben Boutens for the win in this one.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's why he's the reigning champion. Going into his title defence, he's done pretty solid this week. Obviously a comfortable victory in his first one and this morning, obviously with his pole positions, but he's surely going to be favourite for sure.
Yeah, absolutely no doubt in my mind that Ruben's got this one covered. There's going to be a little bit of a break while they do the refuelling and checking over some cars. But Ruben Boutens surely has to be favourite for this one. I'm sure Andrew Duff, Lee Jones, there's a variety of people in there, Dan Truman and possibly even Will Buxton will be trying to give him a run for his money. But with all due respect to the other guys, it's hard to see how Ruben's going to lose this one. However, unlikely, but it will take pressure to knock him off the top spot there, and that's what those other guys will be working on. So we will be resuming in a little while once they've given the carts a check over and a quick refuel.